Hello. We are live and streaming. Here we go. I am Waldo,
I'm modular.
and we are gonna argue about the news and junk right now. I'm gonna get
Let's
a,
do it.
I'm gonna do this chat thing apparently, um, just in case somebody sees it. Where is the button for that? Goes here, and then we go to content, I think. And we go to live, and there is one live right now. So what I do
Nice.
is open it in a new tab here. Then I have to, oops, I don't think that's it. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna mute it real quick so you can't hear me. Then I go to this chat here, pop out chat. This is the only way I know how to do it. If there's a smarter way to do it, I don't know what it is. I copy this, I close it here, close this, get out of here you. Close this, minimize that. Go to, oh God, where is it? There's. And then I put in that, and then I say OK, and then a chat window should appear. Yeah, there it is.
Nice.
That is long and cumbersome and painful, and I do not know how to make it any easier. And I assume that it will never be any easier. It will only get harder as I go.
That's what she said.
I know, right? Okay, here we go. We've got. You want to start on the news?
Sure. I
Okay.
haven't been following it, so
Oh man, you are in for a treat. Uh, First of all, Garland named special counsel to lead Trump-related probes. DOJ's
nice.
coming after him.
Solid. And I know that Trump did announce his candidacy again.
He did. They were waiting for everybody was waiting for these midterms to
Yep.
go over, for two reasons. One, if the DOJ, if they do it beforehand, before the uh, midterms, they could be
Accused
insinuated.
of influencing the
Yeah,
election like they did with the Hillary
yeah,
probe.
they could get
Yeah.
challenge. They could get accused of that. So they waited until it was over, and Donald Trump waited until it was over too, because he didn't want. I don't know why he did that, but um, they've got a So they're coming after him for two things. If I want to say it's right over here. This is the guy. Look how serious this man is. That is a serious man.
He does not look happy.
He does not joke around. Well, you know what his job was? He was a prosecutor at The Hague for like Bosnian war crimes.
Wow.
He is not a man to goof around. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, he's been no. Where is it? I was talking about what that guy. What he uh, a war crimes prosecutor at the International Criminal Court. The Hague will be engaged in two main areas of investigation. One is to look into whether any person, including Mr. Trump, unlawfully interfered with the transfer of presidential power following the 2020 election. So that's like Jan 6. Or the certification of the Electoral College vote on January 6th. Yeah. The other focus on Mr. Trump's removal of hundreds of documents from the White House, which were transferred to his home, Mar-a-Lago. So that's the documents.
Okay.
So that guy is looking at those two things. And I think he's a serious and important guy. Like, I don't think that he's political, or else he wouldn't have the job that he has. And he probably doesn't screw around. I bet this might get ugly. And then he doesn't have the that Mueller loophole. Not really the Mueller loophole. It's more like the Nixon loophole. That um, the Justice Department can't uh, prosecute a sitting president, which is what they decided during Nixon, that he can only be impeached and he can't be charged with a crime by the Justice Department. So that's what Mueller did. He said, hey, here's all the evidence. If you guys want to impeach Trump about the Russia thing, you could. But they didn't. But this
Right.
guy doesn't have to worry about that loophole because Donald
Because
Trump
he's
is
not
not
sitting.
the
Yeah.
president, you know? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a thing that's happening. What do you think?
I'm I'm fine with it. I mean, I obviously I'm on the right.
Hmm.
Um, my preference is not Trump at the moment. It's
Hmm.
DeSantis.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute
uh,
too. Yeah.
I would actually really rather that Trump not run in 2024 because I have a feeling that what's going to end up happening, and you predicted this. We lost two of our discussions to audio issues.
I know. I'm a
And
doofus.
you predicted this, but I mean, it's also my expectation is
Hmm.
that Trump runs. There is a primary. DeSantis is involved, and if Trump loses the primary, then he ends up running as an independent and pulling a oh, what's his name? You forgot last
Ross
time.
Perot.
Now I'm forgetting. Ross Perot, pulling
Yeah,
a Ross Perot
pulls a Ross Perot.
and splitting the vote, um, which I think will be very unfortunate. Um, it'll result in another 8 years of Democrat control, and yeah, that's just where I'm at though.
Yeah, I
Is
think. Well, honestly, and not to uh, downplay my own argument on my side, but I thought that's what was going to happen in 2015. Um,
Yeah, that was something I was concerned about as well back then.
yeah, I
But I
really thought
was
this
I was
split was going
fully
to
on
happen
board
then.
the Trump train at the
Hmm.
time. And now he's just sort of made himself unelectable, which I mean I don't have a problem with the guy, but he he just can't elect him. Like if he's the candidate, then he's gonna lose. That's the problem.
I
So
think he might win the primary. I mean, okay, 2015, that first big debate, they had 19 Republicans on stage, uh,
yep.
and they were all talking, and then there was a question about accepting the results or running as a third party or something like that. And Trump was the only one that was like, "Yeah, I won't accept it, and I will run as a third party." That's what I thought was going to happen. And
Right.
I thought that was some sort of Machiavellian scheme of his to get himself vice president. And I think they should have made him the vice president. You know what the vice president does? Fuck all nothing.
Yeah.
They just talk, which is what he loves to do anyway. But he can't play second fiddle. He can't play second banana. The DeSantis slash Trump ticket would win, I think. But he won't do that. He's too much of an egomaniac. He won't play second. He won't be vice president. Um, so that leaves us with what? Trump slash DeSantis, and I don't think DeSantis wants that either. And
No.
I think that would actually lose.
I think that DeSantis probably wouldn't be his vice president anyway. He's seen how I mean Trump has not treated the people around him very well.
I know, yeah.
He treated Mike Pence very badly
Hmm.
when Pence went in and certified the election for Biden.
Hmm.
Um, just I think he burns too many bridges. I think DeSantis probably sees that and wouldn't work for him anyway.
Hmm.
So
And if they're not willing to work together, they're going to have to work separately, and that's going to tear the whole thing apart.
yeah, the next few years is not going to be fun for Republicans. I think
Yeah,
um, party will probably be torn apart. There'll be a pretty major shift,
because I think
and
most of the people, most of the primary vote, I mean primary voters, anyways, what I'm talking about, like primary voters want him, want Trump.
yeah, some of them do. I don't.
I know.
Um, yeah, it's gonna fucking suck. I'm definitely sort of a little more withdrawn from politics as a result of that.
Hmm.
I used to be very much on board, pushing. You see me in the debate channels and
Hmm.
whatnot, I'm a lot less active. I'm much more concerned about ideas now rather than actual politics because I know that the politics are gonna fucking blow for the next few years.
I got you.
And
Okay.
I'm really tired of trying to. I mean, Trump is a guy that I think got a lot of flack from the media that was not deserved.
Hmm.
But there was a lot that was,
Okay.
and there was enough that was there that was very annoying to try to defend that I don't really care to do so anymore.
Okay.
I mean, we talked about some of the sillier things, like injecting bleach
Yeah.
and whatnot. That was like, okay, come on, like this was a bit of a smear campaign. But on the other hand, there was enough there that was also just you know dumb stuff that was actually true. I'm
Right.
just tired of him. I
Right.
just I
Yeah,
don't
we've had
want to
enough.
do
Yeah.
it anymore. Yeah.
Um, he has called the investigation a horrendous abuse of power and the latest in a long series of witch hunts and weaponizing the Department of Justice. I think he's wrong that this isn't a well, actually, I think he's right. The Justice Department is weaponized against him because he is a criminal. Uh, I mean, that's kind of a true thing. The Justice Department should be weaponized against criminals, and I think he is one. Um,
That's fine.
but what have we got here? We've got Republicans are starting, now that they have the House, 42 Biden administration officials they want to testify. They're just going to investigate Biden all day, every day. This, right here, is an unjust weaponization. This right here.
Of the house.
Yes. The House is just going to investigate Biden all day, every day. They're not going to do anything for the people. They're not going to pass any bills. They're not going to do anything other than investigate Hunter Biden and his laptop.
Oh, is that what the
Oh,
testifying is
it's
about?
coming. It's yeah. Well, that and a few other things. Anything they don't like. Let's see what they need testimony on issues including border security, school board threats, and claims of bias within the FBI and Justice Department.
Hmm.
That's what they're investigating. School board threats. That's
The fuck is that?
that is when those goobers go to those Q-tards go to school boards and scream about um, kitty litter boxes and critical race theory without knowing what any of that means. And then they get either shut down or the police show up,
Hmm.
or they get asked to leave. Um, it's just not a Jim Jordan. Fuck that guy. Um, it's just nothing. They're just gonna create nothing all day, every day. They're not gonna do any government work. They're not gonna try to push Republican policy as if there were any. The only Republican policy that exists anymore is culture war nonsense.
I wouldn't say I agree with that. But at the same time, they don't get a lot done when they're in charge anyway. But you could say the same for Democrats anyway.
I know.
So,
Well, Democrats don't get anything done because they're wieners, and they can't even get all of their senators to vote for a damn thing. Um, uh, speaking of senators voting for a damn thing, here we go.
I mean,
Uh,
Republican policies have not been codified really. Um, they get into office. Trump got into office, and he actually did manage to accomplish a certain number of his campaign promises, but they weren't by uh, passing any laws. They weren't done by um, actually setting policy in stone through legislation.
mm-hmm.
He wanted to bring down thing like Ill, Ill, excuse me, illegal immigration was a big topic that he ran on,
Mm-hmm.
and he did manage to bring illegal immigration way, way down. But he didn't do that by passing legislation about illegal immigration. He did it through messaging,
Hmm.
and then uh, in terms of normal immigration, that came way down as well because Stephen Miller managed to fuck up the immigration website a
Hmm.
bunch. Like that's how they managed to do that.
And
And it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I think you're right. They make it hard to do, and then they make the messaging bad. Like, I mean, kids in cages. Whether it's, I think there's some truth to there, but I think kids in cages is a bit of an exaggeration. But um, the family separation policy, if that's the policy, and the people trying to cross the border know that, they might not cross the border. Uh, so yeah,
right.
I think you're right. That's a messaging thing. Um, so, oh, did you see the we live in a gay country now? Senate.
Oh, do we?
Oh yeah, Senate
I don't
on
know. It's pretty
Wednesday
gay.
advanced legislation that will provide federal protections for same-sex and interracial marriages. 62 votes. So it's passed the filibuster. These are
Okay,
Republicans who voted for marriage equality legislation
sure.
rather than the. And so, I mean, was it legal yesterday or last week? Yes, but that was because of the Supreme Court decision.
Yep.
Which
Same
means
as
the
abortion.
same as abortion. So the Supreme Court
Yeah,
could reverse it.
exactly.
Nobody thought they would until they reversed their abortion decision as well. So um, they put this into law, and it's going to pass. It's already passed the House and the Senate, and we very much expect Joe Biden to sign it, 62 votes. And
Well,
um,
good. Finally. I
yeah,
mean, look,
this is
like
what they're supposed to do. This
this
is
this is what's supposed to happen.
yes,
Abortion's not supposed to be a fucking Supreme Court decision. It's supposed to be in legislation, right?
right.
Like
I agree.
all of these things are legislation issues.
Hmm.
It shouldn't be in the Supreme Court's hands. That's the most frustrating thing is look, if you want gay marriage, if you want abortion, put it in legislation, please.
Get 60
Like
people to vote for it in the Senate. Yeah, and
and
but
exactly.
senators are
That's how
scared.
this is supposed to be done. And when people get so fucking mad about the Supreme Court overturning a decision, it's like, dude, you get the like you guys had 50 fucking years
Hmm.
to put this in action, you know, like
But if a senator votes for it, they might not get reelected next time. That's the issue. That is the entire issue. Senators are scared to vote for things. They are terrified to take a position that isn't solidly cemented within their side.
that's
Uh,
I think a political issue. I
I mean,
mean,
I agree. Yeah, they're politicians. They don't want to take a
well,
side because then they will not get votes and they
well,
will lose
yeah,
their job.
and maybe term limits would be the right idea there because
I
you
maybe
know, maybe if the senator's on their last term, then maybe they'll make decisions that you know, we actually elect them to make.
right, could be.
It's a decision making problem, right? It's one where we elect them to do that, and they're not willing to actually make those choices
Hmm.
that we elect them to make.
Hmm.
It's very annoying because they want to get reelected.
Yeah,
That's just the straight fact is
being middle of the road and doing nothing is more likely to get them reelected. Yeah.
exactly. And I don't want that. I want them. We elect these people to make decisions for the country, and I would like them to actually make those choices.
As if they were
Um,
representing us. Yeah.
as if they were representing us. Amazing. What a thought, right? I mean,
Wild idea.
give
So
me a break.
because this passed, I walked into a Burger King and this is what I saw. Look at this. Unbelievable.
I was got the moon. Ba-da-ba-bee-da-ba-ba-da-boo. Ow,
Joe
ow,
Biden's
ow, ow,
America.
ow, ow.
Wow.
Ba-ba-ba-da-boo. Bee-da-ba-ba-da-boo. Wow, 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 wow.
Workers.
Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Gary Chef!
Yep.
Incredible.
Joe Biden's America, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Uh, so yeah, this is it's passed with 62, and here's the list of Republicans who voted for it, who are now on the list of people who won't be getting reelected.
I'm sure there will be.
I
I think people will forget about this, and
Yeah, and I think they scheduled it for the right time. It's right after the midterms. There's some of these people have several years until they have to run for reelection. Uh,
I mean, let's be real. Most voters don't even look at the voting records of their candidates anyway.
I know. We just watch the
So,
TV commercials.
yep.
Uh, so that happened. Then what else we got? Hunter Biden probe coming from the House. Here we go.
Yeah. Annoying. I don't really care for it.
Yeah. What else we got? We'll jump onto that in a minute. Ooh, this guy, uh, Jesse Benton, guilty of funneling money into Donald Trump's campaign from Russian connections.
Nice.
Uh, no evidence that the Trump campaign actually knew about it, but I mean, this was what he did. He just takes Russian money and gives it to Republicans. He's been doing it for years.
That's ballsy.
Well, he's been found guilty
I
again.
mean, what a fucking idiot. But,
That's his job. That's what he does.
sure.
Um,
I'm here for it. Whatever.
what was this? This was about the Oath Keepers, but it's not loading up.
Uh-oh.
Stupid internet. That's okay. There's an Oath Keeper on trial for trying to
Yeah,
overthrow the
don't care
government.
about them too much.
Yeah.
Like
Then
I
what do we
said,
got?
I'm here for the ideas. I'm much less about the current event politics these days.
Okay. I'm going
Um,
to save this one for last, then we'll
oh,
skip
what's
over
that?
here. Oh, that's your boy, but we'll talk about it in a sec. Because it
Uh-oh.
leads into woke and wokeism, and then that's what we were going to talk about today, right?
Yeah. Although
Uh,
the things I want to bring up are
is mostly media. Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, because that's what our conversation was supposed to be about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We did lose, unfortunately, 2 streams worth of
Oh,
conversation where I made, I think, valid critiques of multiple pieces of media,
hmm.
Star Wars and The Rings of Power, without bringing up anything political, actually.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
I agree. You were completely within the realm of media critique.
yeah. And I have a lot of critiques about the media that I feel like if I bring them up um, without that kind of context,
Hmm.
then it'll be, oh, he's just anti woke. Like, no, I feel like I have very valid critiques of most of the media that I watch. And the wokeness is something that when I critique it today, um, it might be viewed in the wrong light because of the fact that we lost those streams.
Oh, okay, okay. Um,
You know?
I see. Um, we can go back to those if you'd like. I mean, I've still got my old notes, but um, I think you did. You put forward actual legitimate media critiques of the way that the shows were structured that had nothing to do with politics or agendas.
Yeah, and
You didn't say the gay agenda one time.
just having you acknowledge that is fine by me. As
Okay.
long as the understanding is not that I dislike this media because it's woke.
Hmm.
Um, that's not my critique,
Okay.
right? It's I have other issues, and it blends a little bit with what we'll talk about today.
Okay.
Um, but that context, I think, is important. That I actually have critiques that don't involve the wokeness of a particular piece of media,
Mm,
right?
okay. Yeah. What do we got?
All right, let's talk about
We got
DeSantis.
Mr.
What's up?
DeSantis
What's up with
here.
my boy?
His stop woke law. That's the name of the law. Stop woke. He really, literally wronging our kids and employees. Woke.
Wrongs to our kids and employees. Okay,
WOKE. He had to make it into an acronym.
amazing.
Kind of stretched it, but so it's the Stop Woke Act. Um, a judge has stopped it because it's positively dystopian and against the 14th Amendment.
What's it about?
Um, the judge seems to think that university it limits what colleges and universities can teach students about racism, sexism, calling it possibly dystopian. Um, the law in April. Uh,
Teaching students and employees anything that would cause anyone to feel guilt, anguish, or any form of psychological distress due to their race, color, sex, or national origin.
so if I tell
Okay.
you a fact about history and it makes you feel guilty, anguish, or psychological distress, it's illegal.
Yeah, sounds dumb.
This is
Um,
this is my problem with the wokeism and the Republican fight against woke. It's not real. It's nonsense. It's all feelings. It is all feelings and no facts. Uh, the right-wing attempt to fight woke, whatever woke is, they change it every week, and whatever they want fits into that category, and whatever they don't want to fit into that category doesn't. It is 100% feelings. It is 100% uh, mental. Just whatever they
I would say
think.
the law is annoying. It got rightfully struck down by a judge, and I don't know. I actually don't have any opposition to this one.
Okay.
Not you know,
I
like,
mean, he's floating these things in Florida so that he can pass them uh, federally once he's president. You know.
well, once he's president, he's got to deal with the legislature of the country,
Hmm.
right? It's one of those things where he it's possible in Florida because Florida is fully red right now,
Right.
you know, and he has all of Florida under his thumb.
Hmm.
Um, but the legal system is working in the way that it was intended in Florida,
For now.
where sure, where in Florida the judges, this got passed, and the judges are saying no, that's ridiculous. You can't do that, right? And so this law has been struck down. The legal system is working as intended,
For
and
now.
I'm fine with
I
that.
mean, his side is going to appeal it, and then it's going to go to a higher judge. And if it hits a right-wing judge, they're going to allow it. And if it hits a left-wing judge, they're going to deny it. I don't. I don't
I
think
mean,
that's the
it
system working
theoretically
properly.
could go as high as the Supreme Court, right?
Right.
And the Supreme Court will probably say no. I
I
would
I
guess
hope they
that,
would.
well, yeah. Look, the Supreme Court currently has a bunch of constitutionalists on it, right?
Mm,
Where,
that's what they call themselves. Yes.
yeah, and they are.
No.
You
They can.
disagree?
Yeah. No. Those are not constitutionalists. The right-wing guys. Is that who we're talking about? They give their opinion and they work off of whatever the hell they want and call themselves constitutionalists.
Interesting.
They just make that word up to get what they want anyway and say it's constitutionalist in quotes. I no, I don't agree that they are constitutionalists.
Hmm.
I think they're right wing and they just
Um,
call it constitutionalism to cover their tracks. It is a
I have to disagree.
ruse. Okay.
I think that constitutionalism is probably the correct route for a Supreme Court justice.
Hmm.
I think that constitutionalism is probably going to lean right wing anyway because it's a more libertarian perspective. Where if legislation doesn't actively interfere with the Constitution, it should be allowed. So, for example, this gay legislation,
Hmm.
right, that was just passed,
Hmm.
if that goes through the Supreme Court and gets denied by the Supreme Court on the basis of the Constitution, I'd be like, whoa, hold on a second. because that doesn't sound right. The legislation itself being challenged, how do I say this? It's it's all about what it is they do. Abortion was not covered by the Constitution, so they cut it down. And I believe that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, before she died, actually said that Roe v. Wade was a mistake because it should
Mm,
have been legislated.
it should have been legislated, which is what we talked
It's
about earlier, and
exactly
it ought
right.
to have been. Yeah,
Being a constitutionalist, I don't think is a right wing perspective. I think that things should be legislated and that legislating from the bench is incorrect. I
I
would not like to see that.
I agree. I just think that the uh, judges there are right wing, and they do right wing things and then call it constitutionalism. Uh, but I get what you're
Well,
saying,
what
that constitutionalism should be what they do. I just don't think that's what they do.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I think that's what they should do. Is constitutionalism. Um, I think that in this case, they or the court that struck down this law with DeSantis is correct in doing so, and that's fine. Like the legal system is working the way that it's supposed to. And if you think that, I mean, do you think that if DeSantis were to be president and then there was a Republican House and Senate,
Hmm.
that if they passed this law
Hmm.
that they passed in Florida, that it wouldn't be struck down by the Supreme Court?
I think it would not be. I think they would, and right here have a highlight, academic freedom, so long as they express the viewpoints of which the state approves. I think that is exactly what the right wing wants. They want academic freedom as long as the state approves, as long as it's right wing approved and not woke. Yeah, I
Interesting.
think that's exactly what they want.
I think the Supreme Court would probably strike it down,
I don't think they would. I mean, but we can't know. But
or at the very least, having a federal job like this, the legislation wouldn't be passed in the first place, and also the attempt to pass certain things or to do certain things would be diluted vastly. In Florida, you've got the state legislature and the state uh, governance, I
mhm.
guess, the governor and the legislature, right? Which is a whole different ballgame from playing on the national stage. So, would you even be able to pass this legislation on the national stage? Probably
if
not.
if you have the House and the Senate and uh, this guy as president, yes, that would pass.
No, I doubt it.
Uh,
Um, in the same way that the only thing that ever made it through on the national, like we just talked about this, right?
mhm.
About how candidates' positions are weakened substantially on the national stage because they want to get reelected, right? Um, you know, Trump running his positions were weakened. He didn't do a whole lot in terms of legislation. A lot of his policies and promises were kept via alternative routes, right? Like fucking up the immigration website.
Mhm.
Like that's how things get done on the national stage. I think that legislation in Florida has been handled by our legal system, our system of governance appropriately. And I think that it actually would not even be feasible to do that on the national stage.
I think it is, and why do I think it is? Because I watch Trump speeches. I watch DeSantis speak, and okay, so there was it was maybe 6 or 8 months ago. Trump was doing one of those stump speeches where he comes out and he gets the crowd going, um, and he does the applause lines. You know, hey, welcome to, I'm in Cleveland, and everybody goes like, yay. And then he's like, yeah, because the USA, and then everybody's like, yay. And he's like, oh, I rebuilt our military, yay. But the crowd got loudest. Do you know what the crowd cheered for the most? That
No, tell me.
uproarious, wild. He couldn't talk for like 40 or 50 whole seconds because they were just cheering out of their minds. He said three words: woke is shit. And they lost their minds. I think they love that. I think the Republican voters love this anti wokeism. And I think it would pass. And I think they would get so much support from their supporters because of this. This is why Ron DeSantis is doing it. He isn't doing this because he's ideologically against wokeism. He's doing it because his base loves it.
Sure.
And I think that that's why it would pass. I think that the people who support it, in the Republicans who support this kind of anti-woke legislation in the Senate, would get support. They would get numbers. They would get positive feedback from their voters. And then in the
Well, we
House as
are
well.
about to talk about wokeism in media, right?
Yep. That's why I wanted to
And
say this one for last.
sure, and it's a great segue. Um, do you think that it's unjustified?
The hatred of it, yeah, it's
Yeah.
nonsense.
I
Um,
mean,
the
it sort of is just shoved in our faces,
mm, yes, it is,
and it's
because
quite
it's
annoying.
based on decency, and decency
I
should be
don't think
shoved in
so
your
at all.
face. Human decency ought to be shoved in your face, and you ought to be taught as a young child how to be a decent human being. That's a good thing. Uh, Sesame Street
I don't
teaches
think
children to
that
be good
wokeism.
people.
I I don't think that wokeism is a lesson in decency. I think it's moralizing.
Moralizing.
It's saying, hey, if you think otherwise than us, then you're wrong, and we're going to sort of preach about it to you all day, every day.
Hmm.
It's quite annoying, actually.
I know it's
Um,
annoying.
I don't watch media to be preached to. Um, I just don't like. I find it irritating to watch media and find that the reason for the media um, is not to tell me a good story or to entertain me. It's to push a message. I find that that's highly irritating, and I don't pay to go see a movie so that I can be preached to. I pay for it for the escapism. I pay for it for the story.
I mean, those things still exist.
Hmm. But they exist, but they're sort of damaged in some ways. If you're if I'm subsumed with politics, I don't know if that's even the right word. We're inundated, I
Inundated, yeah.
suppose. Yeah, inundated with politics all day, every day. And I go to see a movie. I'm not there to see more messaging politically. I'm there to see a fucking movie. I want to be entertained. I want to escape from my day to day reality, and I don't want to sit there and have to be moralized to by the thing that I'm paying to see. It's really fucking annoying.
That's always existed within media. Always. 100%. I mean, Star Trek, the original Star Trek TV show. Do you think it was woke back in the 70s?
Never saw it.
Okay. It was very woke. It was little morality plays. Um, I mean, there's a reason that the first white man kissing a black woman on TV was on Star Trek, and that's because that's what they did. They showed you a weird little world that had a problem, and then the people came in and they saw it and they were like, "Oh, hey, how's this go? How's that work? Oh my gosh, you guys are doing it that way." And it was giving you a moral. Most stories have morals, don't they? Aesop's fables. Those are what, 2,000, maybe 3,000 years old? About the ant and the grasshopper? There's a moral there. It's one of the oldest stories in
Sure.
existence.
And morals can exist in a story. It's fine, and they exist in most stories, but I don't think that they should be the primary purpose of writing a story. When you write a story, and I talked about this in our two lost streams.
Hmm.
Um, I have issues with the stories themselves, right? And in the case of the um the show and the movie that you brought up when you wanted to talk today, which was She-Hulk and Captain Marvel,
Yeah, we were going to talk about those. Yeah, yeah.
it's not a matter of the wokeism in the story that bothers me. It's the fact that the story is written to accommodate that wokeism.
Hmm.
It's a completely different uh sort of uh gosh, it's a different method of writing, I think. And we probably have disagreements about uh the quality of these shows because as you described in our last Jedi talk, you mentioned that your foundation for what makes a good show is the themes of it.
Hmm.
Whereas my foundation is shit has to make sense.
Is The Tortoise and the Hare a good story?
Sure, it's fine.
That doesn't make sense. Tortoises do not run races against rabbits. They cannot even speak to each other, in fact.
That is not even, I mean, for what it
Who
is,
put
it's
the race
fine.
together? Who organized this thing? It doesn't make any sense. But that's
I,
that's
I
why
certainly wouldn't turn the tortoise and the hare into a movie.
it's been turned into movies 1,000 times.
Really?
Yeah,
Like which
like
movie?
the theme of the underdog trying hard and overcoming adversity. That's like
Mm.
most movies. Um, most movies are the underdog trying real hard and overcoming things. Every anime I've ever seen has an, except for DBZ, has the underdog trying hard and then winning out in the end. DBZ, the Goku is not the underdog. Uh, the bad guys are the
Yeah, he is.
underdogs.
Actually, he
No,
is.
the bad guys are the underdogs and they always lose. Uh,
No, in DBZ, Goku is the underdog every
no,
time. Every damn time.
no.
Even against the Snake. Actually, yes.
He's
Yeah,
the
and I'm making your point for you. You're welcome.
okay.
But yeah, Goku is an underclass warrior, a low class Saiyan, and he beats the high class Saiyans. And then against Frieza, he's weaker than Frieza. He only
Hmm.
beats Frieza because he goes Super Saiyan.
Making him not
Because
the underdog
Frieza
anymore.
kills.
Okay,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but
Okay,
because
he
Frieza kills
struggles
his
to get
best
there.
friend.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. He
I
struggles
mean,
to get there. Okay. After he goes Super Saiyan. Okay,
you can't you
okay,
can't nerd me like that. You
okay.
can't make me nerd.
After he
God
goes
damn it.
Super Saiyan, he's never the underdog ever again. Uh,
Fair.
the show keeps going on and on and on and on, and so that's the turtle and the hare, right?
I disagree. Um, the turtle and the hare, a good sort of lesson to just keep moving forward, slow and steady and whatnot.
Right. There's your moral. There's
Um,
your wokeism. Hey, keep trying. Wokeism is just modern morality, and I think you're right. I think you mentioned morality earlier.
I did.
Wokeism
Yeah.
is simply
Um,
the modern morality.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so you think wokeism is just morality, as opposed to
Yes.
what do you think about preaching?
If you don't like preaching, I understand that you don't want to watch it on your TV at night. I
Do you
understand.
like do you like
You don't
preaching?
make laws against it. You don't form
That's fair. Yeah.
uh, an entire political party against the morality that's on your TV. And you don't cry about it all day long while on the news with Tucker Carlson. He
Hmm.
screams bloody murder every night about the wokeism and the boots that the green M&M is wearing and Minnie Mouse's dresses. These are not important things. These are not harming you. These are not preaching. The I think the right wing looks for things to be upset about so that they can play the victim. They're reaching out. Nobody, I didn't even know the green M&M changed her boots until Tucker Carlson told me. Nobody else noticed either because it doesn't matter. It's
I
not
that
important.
that that's
It's of no value.
it's a little bit out of the realm of things that I care about, to be honest.
I know it is. It's outside your realm, but the normies didn't notice until he told them. Now they're angry about it. Now they're
Well,
voting
hey, we found out that a
for
lot of
the Stop
normies
Woke
really
Act.
want to fuck the green M&M. I
Well,
mean,
they
that's what it is.
no, they didn't.
Like,
Even, nobody even noticed these things. Nobody cared.
but
Didn't matter until he told them to be upset about it. And that's what I when people complain about wokeism, most of the time I'm thinking you didn't even notice this. It doesn't exist. You didn't know it was even there until somebody on Fox News told you to be upset about it.
well, you're talking to the wrong conservative
I know.
because
That's why.
that's not anywhere close to where I'm at
Okay.
with the wokeism
Okay.
conversation.
Tell me where you're at. Sorry.
Well, we had a couple of shows that we were going to talk about.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Um, what'd you think of She-Hulk?
I thought it was fine. It was exactly what I expected it to be.
I fucking
Um,
hated it.
you hated it. What did you hate?
Let's start with episode 1. Well, actually, hold on. So, remember my 7 rules about bad media.
Yeah, I remember that.
Um,
Run
so
run
just
through them
for
again,
the
by
yeah,
all means.
because we lost those episodes
Hey, it's another one of those where
of our
the
discussion. Look at that. It's
yeah
85% critic score, 33% audience.
yeah
So I had a handful of rules about media where I know it's a bad media or it's bad media if um I find that these rules are violated
mhm,
to a considerable degree. So number one, the what or huh rule. This one is from Red Letter Media, where it's every time you see, you know, or every time during a piece of media you go what or huh,
mhm,
that's a red flag.
mhm,
Um, Number two, disrespecting the audience's intelligence. Number three, trying to have moments without earning them. Number four, disrespecting or ignoring what came before, with whether that's previous uh, media in terms of in film, or whether you're sourcing your media from a book or something like that, or a video game even.
mhm,
Um, Number five, unexpected does not equal good. Number six is bland characters, and that's in contrast to flat or dynamic characters. That's not the same thing.
mhm,
And number seven, failure to let certain moments hang. So you either kill the tone with a joke, or you cut it off entirely. And we talked about that with, you know, Luke says, "Where's Han?" and they cut away from him.
mhm,
It's like, wait a second, we should be seeing what his reaction is to the fact that his fucking best friend is dead.
mhm.
You know,
Oh, I agree.
um,
Yeah, that is. And I think that is a limitation within the 2 hour movie window. I think if that show, if instead of a movie, a 2 hour movie, they made a 6 hour uh, Disney Plus show, I think that would be much better. It would be much better structured. It would be much better paced. I agree
yeah,
with you that they did not let it hang and they just jumped to the next thing and it was bad.
yeah. I did not appreciate that at all.
Mhm,
Um, She-Hulk.
mhm.
What was good about it?
It was what I wanted. It was she is a good character, played by a good actress, who has a problem that she has to overcome. She doesn't really want to be a superhero, so there's that hero's journey thing, right?
I think that she could be a good actually, you know what? I'll say she's probably a good actress from what she's
See,
done.
she got into a thing. She refused to be a superhero. Then she had a mentor and an
I,
aide, which
I
was
think
the
that
Hulk.
the character is pretty poor.
Then she had some new allies and enemies. She met Titania or whatever her name was. She has a problem and an ordeal. Then death. I don't know if there was a death of a mentor. Battle with her brother. That could have been the what you call uh, Daredevil. Um, and then oh yeah, death of a mentor. And her mentor was making her feel good. And then he became the bad guy towards the end. And then it got a little messy at the end. Master of two worlds. Literally, she's in two worlds. She literally jumped from one world to another. And then it was over. Yeah, it was fine. It literally followed this whole thing. Not perfectly,
Mm,
not exactly,
I
but it
I
did.
I don't know if the hero's journey circle is really a I think that that's more of a pattern that we see in media rather than something you should just follow.
It is a
Um,
pattern that makes people like your show. If you follow that pattern, it fits within the categories. The human brain appreciates it. I mean,
okay.
the human
And
brain is a
and
pattern seeking device, and it sees that pattern and it likes it. Some of the other,
sure, except that people didn't like She-Hulk. Why do you think they didn't like it?
because they were programmed by to hate wokeism.
I disagree
Okay.
entirely.
Why didn't they like it?
Why didn't they like it? Let's start with episode 1,
Okay.
right? She becomes the She-Hulk because some of Bruce's blood uh drops onto her arm, which has a gash on it, and she becomes the She-Hulk. And she goes to a bar where women come into the bathroom to clean her up, and then she's standing outside waiting for a cab uh, when some guys hit on her, and then she turns into the Hulk as a rage monster, and is if Bruce hadn't tackled her there, she probably would have killed them.
Uh huh.
Um,
She turned into a rage monster. Yes. What?
yes, she did.
What's bad about
Except for
this?
the
You haven't said
fact
anything bad yet.
I'm
Okay.
just
Okay. Sorry.
I'm setting the scene. Hold
Okay.
on.
Sorry.
Then after Bruce tackles her, she wakes up on Bruce's island that he owns, apparently. Um, and she is now apparently in total control of her She-Hulkness, even though we just
No, she
watched her
wasn't.
lose control.
She wasn't in complete control.
That's literally what is done in the first
After
episode.
she
Is
wasn't able to even bring it up until the danger happened. Then she turned into it. Then once she and then he snuck up on her, gave her a zap in the ear with a loud noise, and then she turned into it and didn't expect to. Like she's not completely in control of it.
I
She
see.
gets
Okay.
control over the rest of the episode, but yes, she has an easier time than Bruce Banner did. But he has mental issues.
Uh, I don't know about. I mean, what mental issues did he have that she doesn't have?
He had
Um,
the rage monster inside him before he was hit with gamma radiation. He had a an abusive father, and he had a suppressed split personality that just rarely ever came out, almost never. But once he got
okay.
hit with the gamma thing, he had split personalities. Yes, she didn't have that, and that's why he's upset. He's like, wait a minute, she doesn't have this. It's not the Hulk. It was me all along. I think that's an interesting thing, and I want to say the first movie actually talked about that because his dad was such a shithead.
Well, it's the only movie, right? Um, there's only one Incredible Hulk movie, and that's with Kevin Norton.
No, there's two. We have one
Is there a
as
second one?
we have Eric Bana, and then we have the Eric Bana's one is the one I was discussing, and I'm pretty sure there was a second one of those, and then there was a what's his name? from Fight Club.
Kevin Norton.
Yeah.
Kevin Norton's the one that I'm familiar with. Did
There was
they
one
have
before that.
another Hulk movie?
There was,
What?
I think there was 2 before that.
No. Oh,
There was
I'm
definitely
talking
one.
about the current MCU.
2003.
What?
Ang Lee.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it was not that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't super bad. And yeah, and they don't keep most of this. But yeah,
I think
this is
that shit
2003.
was ignored by Marvel. Like
It talked
they
more
did the
about
reboot, and
it.
then they did the Marvel thing where the Hulk was in Avengers, and they kind of went with the Kevin Norton one, is what I understand.
Okay. Regardless, he had a bad childhood, and his dad beat him, and he had a split personality. That's like, pretty sure that's comic book canon. But the whole comic book
That's
canon
fine.
is a fucking messy nightmare.
Sure.
Okay.
So
she gets
question:
control.
She gets
and you,
control. Okay. And then when she's talking with Bruce about it, she says, "I deal with anger and I control my emotions infinitely more than you."
mm-hmm.
You got to be fucking kidding me, right?
What is kidding about that? That is a thing that
Well,
you just don't know.
she says that she gets catcalled,
Uh-huh.
and she thinks that there's times where she could be literally murdered, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And she deals with anger, or she regulates her emotions infinitely more than Bruce.
Mm-hmm. True thing that women have to go through.
That
You just don't know it. There have been many times in my
there
life
are
where I've
men.
done
No,
things
no, no, no,
that
no,
women would not have done.
no, 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 no.
We were bar
Excuse me,
hopping.
the way that
Uh-huh.
she says it is not defensible. I'm sorry,
It is
but
literal fact. I don't know what
no.
you're saying isn't defensible.
The fact is that she does not regulate her emotions more than Bruce Banner does. Okay, look.
She was
The
okay.
fact
Okay,
is,
maybe she doesn't do it more than Bruce,
the way
but
that
more than
she
any
is
other man.
talking to Bruce Banner.
Yes.
Like let's do a little bit of accounting here. Okay, Bruce Banner hunted by international militaries for years of his life. Okay, every time he moves somewhere, there's the potential that he becomes a giant green rage monster that kills hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so he has to regulate all of his emotions. He has to avoid situations that would put him into bad or into a negative state of emotion because he doesn't want to kill people. You know, and then both of the women that he's loved are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his best friend Tony Stark dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that has literally saved quintillions of lives
Mm-hmm.
across the universe because he's the one that made the snap that brought them all back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, what the fuck else is there?
I
mean,
don't think
Bruce.
that sentence was pointed at Bruce Banner. It was pointed at men. She was suggesting that women
Okay,
have
say
some control
it
over
to
this.
that cocky lawyer dude. Then don't. Bruce Banner is not the guy you say this shit to. He's just not, okay? And the fact that she said it and she's his cousin, like you would expect that she kind of knows a little bit more about him than most people do. Like, this is a guy that lost years of his life to the Hulk. Like, the Hulk, the other guy, was in charge during Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
When Thor was in space and the fucking Hulk was in charge
For a couple of years, yeah.
for years. Yeah, like this is a guy that has lost years of his life to the Hulk. You know, the Hulk has killed a lot of people and he has to deal with that emotional weight.
Mm-hmm.
He has to regulate his emotions to make sure that he doesn't turn into the Hulk. He has done a lot of things that required quite a bit of emotional regulation. And she says, "Oh, I've because I get catcalled, I regulate my emotions infinitely more than you.
I don't think she says
Are you
infinitely more
fucking
than you.
kidding me?
I don't think she said that.
No, she does. She says infinitely more than you.
Okay. I
It's a line in the show. It's spoken, and it's the most undefensible line I think of the entire show. Is she says, "I'm an expert at regulating my emotions because I do it infinitely more than you." Is what she says
um she was speaking to
to
men.
Bruce Banner. She says that shit.
She's speaking to
Yeah.
men. Okay, great. That again, just like last time, you see things that I just do not see or hear.
Well, this goes to disrespecting or ignoring what came before. So I just kind of laid out why the Hulk is not the guy you say this to, Bruce Banner, and she did, and it's just okay. Or it's okay in terms of the show. It's not okay with me. You don't say that shit to Bruce fucking Banner. Like this is a guy that's been through
Then
a lot
okay, I do it
of
infinitely
shit.
more than you. So she's wrong in doing that, and it gets pointed out. She's wrong in that situation, but she does it infinitely more than any man is what she's trying to say.
Except Bruce Banner.
Except
Yeah.
Bruce Banner,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
and
The guy she's saying
great,
it to. It's really
guy
annoying.
she's
And
talking
look
to.
at her. Look at that fucking neck vein. Holy shit. She means what she's saying right now. It's
Yes,
like god damn.
yes, she does. You can have very strong opinions that are incorrect or pointed at the wrong person. Hell, I yelled at you a minute ago for how chud Republicans view wokeism, you know? And I was talking to the wrong guy a minute ago, wasn't I?
Maybe.
You were
Yeah.
talking
I
to the
mean,
wrong conservative, you said. Well, she's talking to the wrong man. But
that's true.
her
Yeah.
ideas about men are what she said.
Well, the worst part is that Bruce sits there and like sort of nods at her in like a conciliatory way. You're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds horrible." Like, God, dude, like this.
See,
No,
I like
I'm
this.
sorry.
I think
What?
the low 38% right here is because of this right here. She-Hulk might generously motorcycle outside my house, and so my dog has to bark at it. She-Hulk might genuinely be the first time some young men hear a woman speak candidly about their experiences. It might not seem like it, but it's hugely important. When she says that, she's speaking to the men.
Okay, so make it towards a normal guy that doesn't deal with the things that Bruce Banner has dealt with, because that's what upset me about that first episode is
Okay,
the way she behaves and speaks to Bruce fucking Banner,
she's
and
talking to
then
the wrong guy.
pretends she's talking to the wrong fucking guy. Straight up, that's what it is. Is look, this is like we've done the accounting. This is a guy that's been through a lot. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like multiple people that he loves or cared about are dead. This is not the guy that you're gonna tell that because you get catcalled, you regulate your emotions infinitely more than he does. That's bullshit.
Well, then what she said
Okay,
was bullshit, and
it's
she's talking to the wrong guy. Great,
yeah. Get out.
she's
Well,
wrong.
you know what? We
Characters
want
can be wrong.
character. Yes, they can be
It doesn't
woke.
hurt my
But
feelings
guess
to
what?
hear it. I never
It
thought, hey, she's talking to the wrong guy. But you're pointing it out, and I think, yeah, great. She's talking to the wrong guy. She's venting her emotions onto the wrong person. It's kind of a thing that
part of
happens with some
media
people.
is supposed to be that. Well, first of all, when she does that, Bruce Banner's reaction should not have been, "Oh yeah, because you get catcalled, you regulate your emotions infinitely more than you know." He should probably stand up for himself a little bit. Um, but on top of that, it's like disrespecting what came before. So we
Mm-hmm.
see the Hulk get run over by a jeep.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Same episode. The Hulk gets run over by a jeep that
Uh,
has no momentum.
I I remember a Jeep scene, but I don't remember saying, "Oh God, this is so offensive." You are seeing things that I'm not seeing. What is the problem with the Jeep? I don't get it. I don't know
The
where you're leading me. You're leading me somewhere, and I don't know where it is.
So Jen tries to leave the
Uh-huh.
island
Uh-huh.
in a Jeep,
Uh-huh.
right? And Bruce gets in front of the Jeep and puts his hands on either end of it
Mm-hmm.
and tries to stop it and is like, "You're not prepared to be out there." Like, she has the Hulk in her now,
Mm-hmm.
right? She is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce is like, "Dude, you can't just leave and go back to what you're doing. We need to talk about this. We need to make sure that you're like safe and whatnot." And she's like, "Nope, gotta go be a lawyer now." And then he tries to stop the Jeep, and the Jeep runs him over. He is the Hulk. The
He
Hulk.
is mid Hulk right now. He's not full Hulk. He can still transform to a larger rage monster. That's old Hulk canon. There are many different forms that the man can take. There was even a Gray Hulk for a while, who I think was a mob boss, organized crime guy. Um, if this guy right here,
Uh huh.
this is mid Hulk, gets angry and loses control, he will get larger and stronger and angrier. If he calms down completely and completely zens out, he turns into uh, Bruce Banner. We see him driving a car as Bruce Banner.
Okay.
You know,
Actually,
he
I
has
see what you're saying. Okay,
multiple
so you're saying
stages.
that in this form that we see him in right now
Mm-hmm.
is he's weaker than Hulk
Full Hulk, yes.
is essentially.
This is mid Hulk.
Okay. And
This
you're
is
saying that
this is equilibrium. This is the two of them really getting along.
it is his personality, or not his personality. It is within reason that he'd be weaker than a Jeep in this form.
Possibly, or he let the Jeep go, or I don't remember the Jeep scene. Honestly, it didn't strike me as something super noteworthy, so I didn't take note of it. But this one is weaker than the full giant Hulk. Yes.
Okay, that's what you want to believe. That's fine.
I didn't believe it until now, until you bring it up. Like I didn't see that Jeep and say, oh, it didn't offend me. I don't know.
I was sitting there like, what the? You mean to tell me that the Hulk just got ran over by a Jeep? Give me a fucking break, right? Like that's where my head was at.
Okay.
And then there's this whole. I mean, there's that you're showing a picture from the training montage.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sort of a dick to her. He's, she outpaces him in a lot of categories that he's trying to teach her. He
Mm-hmm.
does the boulder throw. There's the ground pound where
Mm-hmm.
she like decimates a cliffside, and then he pushes her over the cliffside, and he's being all petty and whatnot, and that's just not in Bruce's character
I
either.
think it's well within the writing of the show. She's doing things that took him years. She is years ahead of him in development, and he's feeling inadequate about it. He was a rage monster for decades, unstoppable, uncontrollable, and he had the whole. Remember the binder? Like he was expecting a whole ton of work to be done on her, and she's already halfway through the binder on day one. This is a humbling experience for him. He thought he
He
knew
should
what
be
was going on.
ecstatic.
He should he should be ecstatic,
He should
but
be very happy for her
he's going
that
to be sore that
she is the
he
way that she
did.
is.
Mm, uh, this is almost.
Why is he so petty?
Why
He's
is he
never
so
been
petty?
petty in any of all of the movies that he's been in. He's never been petty like that.
He's never been petty. He's never been in this position before. He's never been proven wrong so hard before on something that he worked hard on. The binder was thick. He put effort into this binder, and it is wrong. He put effort and his heart, soul, mind, and a ton of mental power into this binder, and it's just not worthless. It's worthless.
Well, it's not. They don't know that yet.
He tore it
That's
out.
another thing.
It's worthless when it comes to her. I don't.
It's
If we make
also not.
19 more Hulks, maybe they'll need the binder. I don't know. But for her, it is of no value. She's
It is of value. They're on an island right now, except for the fact that, and the first time she transforms into She-Hulk, she's a rage monster. She's going to kill those dudes that Cat called her.
she was in a rage. Yes, she was very. Her she had
She was
just
not in
survived a
control.
thing. No, she was not in control, and she didn't know
Okay,
that she could do
so
that. Now that she's aware, now
so
that she's had this moment, and she's aware of her thoughts, because right after this she transforms. Right? She goes
uh-huh.
on the screed. She tells him all the things. She's yelling at the wrong guy, and she transforms because it can go out of control. But because she has practice, she describes the practice of controlling her emotions. She can now. She has more practice at it than he did. That's all this was. This was, hey, I can if I get wild, I will transform. Oh, but I have practice because of my life experiences. That's
Sure.
all I see this as. If she loses control, she will turn green, but she has practice. And the show is telling you and suggesting to young men who are watching it that they have to practice this, and it is a thing that they do. I would suggest that women do have more emotional IQ than men do.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay, so that's all they're
I
telling
I,
you
I
here.
disagree with the characterization that she presents there, especially to the wrong guy.
She is
But
talking to the wrong guy. She is talking to the
that
wrong
it,
conservative. I agree.
yeah, exactly. That's my primary issue
Okay.
is her behavior towards Bruce is a clear violation of number 4, disrespecting or ignoring what came before. It's extremely irritating to have her tell Bruce fucking Banner tell that she regulates her emotions more because she gets catcalled. It's like, dude, are
Okay.
you kidding me? Get out of here.
She's
Um,
wrong.
she is
And
wrong,
okay, great.
and it makes it. But also, her behavior during this episode makes her very unlikable.
I
Um,
didn't think that at all.
I thought she was hugely unlikable during this episode. Um, and this is our introduction to her. I mean, Bruce says that he was able to use her blood to heal his arm. And her first reaction to that is, because I'm better than you? And it's like, no. And he says, it's more like different. And she goes, but better. And it's like, no,
She's
stop.
she's being
This is,
smarmy. I don't. I thought it was
I,
fine.
I, I don't like her, is
I
the
know.
problem. Um, I just, yeah, I don't like her in general. Is the issue? Like, there are characters that I like a lot. She's not one of them. She's not likable, I think,
Great.
is the issue, and it reinforces itself as she does things, as she says the wrong thing to the wrong guy, as she has this sort of complex that she's better than the Hulk apparently, and I God, um, it doesn't get better, is what I will say for the duration of the show.
Okay.
Um, let's see. There's
Well, you know what? There's characters in TV that I don't like that everybody else does. That happens, and that makes me not like the show. I get it.
yeah, but the problem is that the reason I don't like her, I can actually point to the writers and say, hey, you guys had an ideology that you wanted to push. You guys had a message you wanted to push, and you made an unlikable character because of it.
No, they made a character you didn't like. Lots of people liked her.
That's not what the 33% audience
That's
score
what the
says
85% of
of
things
the
said.
critic score. Yeah, well, critics are wrong. I'm sorry,
The
but
critics are wrong. No, you
look,
just didn't
the
like
critics had
her.
an
You didn't get it.
85% score. the audience score is the one that has the support of the masses, okay? The critics
Masses are
are your
stupid.
elite. There's like maybe 200 critics. The masses have thousands and thousands and
What's the
millions even.
what's the George Carlin quote about stupid people? Think about the stupidest person you know, and then recognize that half the country is stupider than that. That's all there is to it. Uh, the
They didn't like She-Hulk because they were too stupid for it. Is that what you're telling me right now?
possibly, if well, I mean, that's the masses. You're talking about the masses. The masses are generally kind of dumb, kind of normy, don't want to hear a message. Um, the normies didn't like it. I agree, but that doesn't mean it wasn't good. I don't know. Um,
It was bad. You know what else has messages?
so if is it so the one before we go on, what else has messages? I like that question, but why did the critics say 85? I am almost. I mean, I'm not a critic, but like I agree with this. Every time this happens on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm on this side. Every time it swaps, I'm on that side. You know, I don't know why. Why am I here and not there?
It's because
Why are
of
the critics
the
there?
it's because of the issue we discussed with The Last Jedi, where you drew the
I
pyramid
I care more
on
about
on
themes.
stream. You
Okay.
care a lot more about the themes of things and the message behind them, whereas a lot of people prefer shit actually making sense. They prefer quality writing, is what I would say. Themes are fine. I don't mind themes. Okay. They are not supposed to be the defining thing of a show. Like something that I'm watching, it needs to make sense. It has to be executed well. The characters have to behave in ways that you might expect them to. The themes are last in terms of my expectations. They're first in terms of yours.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the issue. Is that bottom layer there in terms of the pyramid? Yours is themes. Mine is execution or logical consistency. And I think that my hierarchy of what matters is probably
Don't be green. Hmm.
more consistent with what most people think. Like most
And
people are not watching shows or movies for their themes.
in yours, we had so I've got themes right here, but you've got
Uh-huh.
the base, the
Logical
most important.
consistency. And this is in a lot of ways. I mean, there are a lot of functions to logical consistency. There's within the world and outside of the world, the canon as we know it. Like
So
if
what are you putting on orange right here? So logical consistency, most important. After that,
characters.
characters. Okay.
Yeah, so we got characters in the same place.
Uh huh. Then you would
Um,
do
green probably going to be themes. I'm not sure what's going to be in yellow, honestly.
I guess writing or
Writing is with logical consistency,
oh
honestly.
okay.
I'm not sure what goes in yellow. I just know that I just want something to be well
Execution.
written. Sure.
No, or would you have execution below characters? Or
Or is
execution
it a
more
part of
important?
is it just a part of logical consistency is the question.
You know
Like
what? I don't care for execution all that much.
I care for it. I think that it's important. I think that logical consistency is important. I think that characters are important. It's important not just to have likable characters, but characters that behave in a way that is consistent with their character.
I agree.
So characters kind of flows from logical consistency as well.
Oh, I think characters flow from theme. And I'm not even just making that up because I just drew the thing. I think if you are doing a superhero story, there's themes involved. If you're doing a pirate story, there's themes involved. And those characters have to fit within that theme. The 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 Vulcan walking around the Ren Fair is not within the theme. I don't care how good his character is. He's gonna have. I'm not gonna like him.
I see. What kind of themes are you looking for in these movies or TV shows?
When I say themes, mostly I'm talking about that uh, hero's journey. Are they doing the things that make sense and make me feel good? Are they getting a call to adventure? Are they meeting a mentor? Which literally, call to adventure. Hey, you're a Hulk now. Meeting a mentor. Hey, here's the Hulk. She crossed into uh, New York. She crossed out of the island into New York. Then she had trials and she had failures. Then she grew and she had new skills. Then I don't know if there was a death, but there was some revelations. She gets better at being the Hulk, the She-Hulk. She gets on board with it, uh, and then she comes back and she's a better person. It's like she followed all the things, and I can, if when you stick to this, it makes it feel satisfying to these people.
But not the others, apparently.
No, because I think they're looking at things the way you look at them. They're looking at the drawing from a different way. I
Yeah,
think I think their pyramid is different. I think the critic's pyramid is here. This is the critical pyramid, and this is the fan pyramid.
I can agree with that. I think we've identified sort of what doesn't work, or what works for fans and what works for critics, and that's probably why you have such a discrepancy between the fan and critic reviews.
The critic hierarchy of appreciation is here. Hey, what is she trying to tell me? What is going on? What are we trying to get at here? What messages are being, uh, not even like political messages, but just messages within the characters themselves? What is She-Hulk trying to do, say, and accomplish? And then that, if that matches up with her character, which I think it does, you it makes this feel good. Ooh, this feels good. And then if the
What do you
writing is
think
good,
that
that feels good. And logic at the top is because if she suddenly jumped to the moon, I would be upset with it. You know, I'd be like, why did we do that? That doesn't even make any sense. That's silly. But it's not as important to me.
sure? So what do you think and it was She-Hulk, and then you also brought up Captain Marvel last
Yeah,
time.
I think Captain Marvel was the
Um,
one that the internet went all woke go broke. It was such a big deal at the time, you know.
what do you think the themes were? What was the movie trying to do with those? With Captain Marvel and with She-Hulk? What was the theme
They had
in
different
general? Like,
themes, I would say. They didn't have the same
what
themes.
were they?
The themes of She-Hulk was, what was the theme? This woman is giving something she doesn't want and has to deal with it. You know, how do you make a life of a superhero and a life of a lawyer like mix? That's what I mean. It's right there in the title, She-Hulk, attorney at law. You know, that's two different worlds. That's superhero and hey, I actually want to be a lawyer. I worked hard to
That
get
can't be a
this.
theme, though. You
That
gotta be
can't be
kidding
a
me.
theme.
Like,
Two
right.
two
Well,
things
what?
not mixing and then trying to make them match. Trying to make two things fit together isn't a theme. Seems like a
What?
theme to me.
Okay, so I think we've got different opinions of what makes a theme then.
Well,
Uh, in terms of themes, I was expecting you to say like the theme is, the difficulty that women have in general.
That is
Like,
a minor theme. Yes, it can have hundreds of themes. I mean, the show can have hundreds of them. A subject or discourse, discussion, meditation, or composition topic.
right.
Yes. So
So
he could have
I was expecting
hundreds.
you to say, in terms of what themes are, I was expecting you to say, oh well, this is the struggle that women have in the world,
That is a part of it.
which
Yes,
I would think is an overarching theme of She-Hulk, and especially of Captain Marvel as well.
it is
Um,
part of it. Yes. And is that a
so it's a
problem?
little surprising. Uh, it's
If
not.
if it was
It's
the theme, what would that make a difference?
well, it wouldn't. The problem is that a lot of these shows these days and movies are designed, or not designed, are written with the themes in mind first,
hmm
and then the narrative is shaped around that theme.
Just like Aesop in his fables. Do you think he started? He started with
This
the
is a
theme.
guy from thousands of years ago.
That's why we should respect it. This shit is real and it sticks around our culture. The Ant and the Grasshopper is a story that you know, isn't it?
So does the Bible.
I know, but that has stories in it. If that has uh, it is a list of fables to teach you a lessons. Those
Okay.
sh- those lessons
I don't think it's
can be
relevant.
carried over.
I
Some
don't.
of
I
those
don't.
lessons
I
are
especially
worth
don't
it.
think that She-Hulk Attorney at Law is going to be around our common discourse in 20 years,
I don't
let alone
think it
2000.
will be. But the more
But
basic and more thematic you make your story, the longer it sticks around. The Ant and the Grasshopper. What is that about? That's about a guy who loafs off and a guy who works hard. And then the guy who goofs around dies and starves. This is a very important lesson. This is 100% uh, important for people to know. Do you think that's an important lesson to learn? Do you think the man Aesop didn't start with the theme first? He started with the theme first.
that's fine.
And
And
that
maybe Aesop
has
was particularly talented.
and it's
I
it's a
don't think
bug
that
and a
the people
bug.
writing these things are. So,
They're not as talented, so they
as Aesop.
shouldn't include themes.
Well, they shouldn't be producing multi-million dollar productions. They can write their
There is
silly
nobody else.
fables, whatever their themes are. It's fine, but just don't fuck with shit that I like, please.
I don't think you liked it to begin
Um,
with. I don't think you liked She-Hulk before.
I
I don't think
like
you did.
Marvel,
You liked Marvel, but you didn't like She-Hulk.
and they
I'm going to
well, I
suggest that
didn't know
She-Hulk was
She-Hulk.
never. I know you didn't know it. So when you see it as a Marvel thing, you think it's going to be punching and
Marvel.
karate chopping and the Hulk jumping in to smash things. And she actually talked about that in that last episode. She's like, hey, this isn't me. This isn't what I want. I don't want to be a Marvel spectacle. I'm a lawyer. Let's do me. It's my show. Let's make it about me and the way I want to be. This is 100% matching with the comics. It's better than just another plain Marvel movie. That last episode of She-Hulk was fantastic.
The one where she
Literally
breaks the
brings
fourth wall
yes,
multiple times to be
yes,
like, "Oh, is this really where this finale is going?"
yes, fantastic.
Fine. I mean, whatever. I'm okay with the fourth wall breaking.
She's been doing it in the comics since the 80s.
Yeah, and that's totally cool. I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I don't like the character herself.
you don't like the
Like,
character. That's
yeah,
fine. I mean,
I mean, that's straight up what it is. I
that's
don't
fine.
like her,
You don't like her. That's fine.
and I think
Okay.
that's a totally fair uh
I'm telling you it's fair.
assessment.
You don't like her. That's
Yeah.
fine. I liked
Well,
her. I like watching her. Do I want to marry her and have her children? No. Do I want to hang out with her? Maybe. Do I want to watch her on TV? Yes. Um,
sure. And
the
that's totally fair. I would think that the audience score says they don't like her.
Yes, the audience
Like
score says they don't like her
that
because
is
yeah,
what the audience that's what
right
that is. That's what you're looking at
there,
is the audience
right
does not
here,
like the character.
they hit a problem. They hit the road bump right there. The fan hierarchy of appreciation hit a big old snag right there.
Yeah,
Where,
it wasn't just logical consistency, it was also characters.
hmm
It's the whole foundation of the show is we're supposed to like her.
hmm
And when you make her unlikable in the first episode, it ruins it.
okay,
Right? When she says the wrong thing to the wrong guy in episode 1, it's like, well, I fucking hate you now because you just told the guy that spent 15 years in a living nightmare, multiple people dead that he loves or cares
hmm
about, that you regulate your emotions infinitely more than he does because you get catcalled.
hmm
It's like,
and that was very
no.
heavily within a theme. And I said, hey, that's a good theme. I like that. That's interesting. That is an
And I
interesting
said,
theme. And
wow,
it's given
you're a
by a
bitch.
character, and it's given by a character that was set up as that. So that I in that situation that we have harped on for a while now was within it was a theme, and it was given by a good character, and it was written properly, and the logic of her saying it to him never even entered my mind.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know what kind of character actually like says that though.
The
Especially to him, but um her sort of attitude in general is pretty bad. Um she treats the whole deal of becoming a Hulk
mm-hmm
as an annoyance,
mm-hmm because it is
which is it's not though. It's
for
a
her.
really big deal.
It's an annoyance.
Um
It's a bad thing that she did not ask for. So it is a life changing thing that she did not want.
it is, but the way that she treats it is incorrect, I think. Is
That
unlikable.
the way she treats it is how that character would treat it. When I say characters, I want the character to be laid out and then do the things properly. As a okay, I'm sorry. When I have character right here, that's like the character doing things that make sense for that character.
No, that belongs in logic.
That belongs to characters. Why does it belong to logic?
Characters behaving the right way is a logical thing.
No,
Characters being
characters being
likable,
they're
having an
emotional.
arc,
She's
not being
having
bland,
she's having
that's where
emotions.
characters
She's
go.
having emotions. That doesn't belong within logic. It belongs within characters.
No. Um, Characters have a certain behavior that we would expect from them. We expect them to behave in certain ways, um, based on the arcs that they have and where they've been and what they've done and how we have been shown that they behave
Mm-hmm.
in previous situations.
And you're telling me all that
So,
belongs within the logical consistency square?
yep,
I
yeah.
cannot disagree more. You just described character arcs, my man. That's within the character area.
No, no,
Logical
no. The
consistency
characters have to be
is
likable. Logical consistency is separate from characters. It's okay, would this character actually do this? Would Luke Skywalker try to kill his nephew because he saw a hint of darkness in him? No. It's not logically consistent. Okay? That's
he's
where
having severe emotions.
that's
That's
look,
within
that's
character
where
arc,
that
man.
belongs in terms of the pyramid. Characters is okay, do I like the characters? Are they dynamic? Are they flat? Are they bland? Are they very developed? That's how where characters go.
Luke Skywalker having that difficulty, that doubt, that thought is part of the character arc.
No,
Yes.
I
he's
could not
he's
disagree
he's
more.
on an arc, and that's one
Uh,
of the steps within the arc.
this is a guy that that saw the glimmer of light in Darth Vader.
Yes.
Okay, and
That was
and
part of his character arc
wanted to
also.
bring him back.
That was also part of his character arc
And we're looking
at the
at
time.
at the guy that saw the glimmer of light in Darth Vader, but because he saw a shadow of darkness in Kylo Ren, he was potentially going to kill his own
He was
nephew.
debating it. He was thinking about it. Yes.
He literally had his lightsaber turned on, hovering above
In
Kylo
in
Ren.
in one of the scenarios he did. In the other he did not. Because that got.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I mean, we saw the scene twice from a different point of view. From Luke's point of view, he didn't have it on until Kylo started to attack him, and from Kylo's point of view, he was a scary-faced monster man who was there to murder him in his sleep.
I don't remember that at all.
We
I
they
remember
showed it
the
twice.
lightsaber being turned on,
Mhm.
and he was about to murk Kylo
Yeah.
in his sleep. Like,
Right.
dude,
Because
this is something that Luke would never do. Luke
because
would not do that.
and that's Kylo's perception that you're seeing it from. We
And
saw
and the
it
problem
literally
is,
twice. It was
here's
in
the
the
thing
movie
though, is
twice with
that
two different
that
things.
that issue doesn't belong in the characters section. It belongs in the logical consistency section.
I cannot even comprehend how that sentence makes sense.
What do you mean?
I mean, this is a very important character moment. He's having an arc. He's having a thought of a thing that he would like to do, and he doesn't know what decision to make, and how to make it, and what's going to be the consequences. This is all severely within the character block. Logical consistency, if what I thought you were saying logical consistency is late Game of Thrones, when Cersei tells Bronn to go kill somebody in Winterfell, and then 7 minutes later he's there. That is a logical inconsistency because it takes months to get
The
between the two.
teleportation in Game of Thrones season 8 was horrible. Yes.
Right, that's a logical
Their
consistency
teleport
problem.
powers.
This is what I thought you were talking about with logical consistencies. When a character goes from Winterfell to the Red Keep in one episode, and there's not a 6 month long waiting thing. The teleportation, I think, is a logical consistency. Yes.
Yeah, it's a logical inconsistency. It's
Okay,
it's
great.
horrible. The
Okay, great.
teleportation was really bad.
I agree.
Yeah.
That is a logical inconsistency, and I dislike it, but I dislike it a little bit.
Okay. I need to use the bathroom.
Okay, good.
I will tell you, or I'm gonna ask you this.
Okay.
I want an answer when I come back.
Okay.
What made Game of Thrones bad towards the end
Mm-hmm.
in seasons, whatever seasons you think were bad?
Mm-hmm.
I think it started to decline after season 4.
Mm-hmm.
So some people think that season 7 and 8 were bad, and up to season 6 was fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I want to know, in your mind, what made Game of Thrones bad towards the end? Because we do agree that it got bad
Mhm.
eventually, right?
Mhm.
So my question for you is, at what point did that start to happen? When did it start getting bad? And what made it bad? And I'll be
Okay.
right back.
Okay. Um, so, since he's gone for a moment, I'll just say that I'm an absolute amateur at YouTube. I barely know what I'm doing. I just saw some streamers and thought it looked fun. So, Modular is a good friend of mine from real life, and we just talk and goof around and discuss things. This is what we're doing in our free time anyway. So all I have to do is just turn a camera on and then put it on the YouTube, and all of a sudden we've got a show, right? Right. Super easy. Um, we are probably just going to do this every Saturday morning. Um, that's just when we have free time. So Saturday, show up, talk some stuff. Um, we often argue political ideas and stuff like that. So the wokeism is how we got here. I think we'll circle back around to that in just a couple of minutes. And the idea is that I'm generally a leftist. He's on the right. We argue it out, and we don't want to meet in the middle. I don't want to meet in the middle. God no. The middle's a terrible place for inconsistent people. So the idea is hopefully I drag some people to the left. Wouldn't that be nice? And I think he's trying to drag some people to the right, but that's okay. I did like She-Hulk because of this theme right here. And then the character was well within the theme, and then the writing was okay. And if there was any logic inconsistencies, I didn't notice them. I'm not sure what he's going on about with this logical inconsistency, though. I think everything he described should have been in the character's arc. I mean, the decision the character makes having consequences. That's well within characters, I think. Um,
And I am back.
Excellent, thank you. I got nervous talking to myself.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's good. If there were a viewer that could chat at me, that would give me something to talk to. I don't think I could do this by myself. God.
One day we will have
one
many
day,
viewers.
someday soon, I'll have a viewer or two
Yeah.
who can then just chat at me, and then I could be like, yeah, you're wrong, or you're right, or even, God, even internet Nazis could just come in here and just yell at me, and then I'd just yell at them back. It'd be fine.
We might have some really interesting YouTube chats because there might be fans of you and there might be fans of me.
Right?
That could make things really interesting. Maybe there will be side debates in the chat even
Someday. Hopefully.
someday.
But we
All right,
were
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
What made it bad?
They ran out of source material.
Well, that's not an
They're-
answer, though.
Yeah, it was that made it bad. They were bad writers. They were lazy writers. For 5 seasons, they copy pasted the books and didn't need to think. This happened to me in 10th grade Spanish. In fact, I sat next to a red-haired girl and I just copied everything she did. And then I moved to another town and I couldn't cheat and copy off of them anymore, and I did not speak Spanish. And I bombed the last
Okay.
8 to 10 weeks of school because I could not speak Spanish. They did exactly that. They didn't learn it, they didn't write it, they didn't understand it, they didn't know it. They just copy pasted from a book. And when they ran out
Okay.
of books to copy pasta, they got the notes from George R. R. Martin about Winds of Winter. The man is almost done with that book. Hopefully, there's something written. They took it, they copy pasted what they could, and after that was over, it went way downhill. They couldn't speak Spanish. Neither could I.
I see. So your problem with Game of Thrones was the writing.
Yes, it was so atrocious that the writing here in the yellow, the characters didn't, the themes existed, the characters existed, and
Yep.
the writing just didn't exist. There was nothing. It was gone.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
It sounds to me like writing should be in the category where themes is for your pyramid.
No.
Because if the writing is if it's possible for the writing to be so bad that it ruins the themes and characters, then writing is the foundation.
I mean, the themes still existed, and the characters still existed.
They did, except the
And
writing
then-
ruined it.
And
Except,
then the writing
but what makes
fell
a good
down.
you've already told me though.
It
You've told
poisoned.
me that the writing is able to poison the stuff below it.
Yeah, it poisoned it.
Except for the
little-
fact that for me, if you're able to do the things in my pyramid,
Mm-hmm.
it's not actually possible to poison the below categories.
It's not able to poison the below categories.
So if everything is logically consistent in a movie, and then you have good characters, the execution matters a lot less. So you can have things like a Starbucks cup accidentally in a shot,
Hmm.
and then the themes are last. It's look, you can have certain themes, or you can have no themes at all.
There's no such
But
thing as no themes at all.
if your themes are good, or if they're bad, if you have bad themes, then they're not going to impact whether or not I like the characters, especially if there is logical consistency there. Whereas for you, if the writing is bad, that can ruin your themes and your characters.
Mm, if it's so, if okay, so if the writing is so bad, it didn't ruin the theme or the characters. Those still exist. They were just poorly explained and poorly written and poorly done. The theme exists, but it can't. This isn't a building. If we take, let's see, an eraser. If all I have is those two, if all I've got is these two,
Uh huh.
it's not good. It's not a building. This isn't a pyramid any longer. If all of this is gone, then it's not a pyramid. It's not a show. It's just a. It's not very good. It's just not good. It's got a theme. The theme still existed. It was explained poorly. The characters still exist, and they were written poorly. So it just isn't good. If yours over here, let me throw this out there. If you're logically consistent and you have characters, but these are bad, you're still happy with it?
It would probably still be a good show.
I don't think it would. It would this. You know what this would be? Logical consistency in characters. This would be a uh, World War II documentary,
Pretty good.
which I hate.
Those are
They're
usually pretty
boring.
good.
I don't like them at all. They're of no value to me.
I mean,
World
look,
War II documentary.
it,
What this is right here, right here. Logical consistency in characters with none of the other two. This is the History Channel when it was doing World War II stuff all day long, and it was boring as hell. There's logical
they
consistency
did World
within.
War II. No, first of all, they did World War II stuff all day long because it made money, because
Right.
people liked it, and
Because,
also
yeah, because these people, these
Well,
33%,
yeah, those
love
33%, the
these
30,
two
the
things.
the
Yeah,
77%, or excuse me,
the
67%
normies.
that the 2/3 of people that watch things like it when things make sense.
Right.
And they like it
Then,
when they have characters that they can either root for or against, that are not bland, that are dynamic, that make sense, characters that act in the way that we would expect them to. And then there's the question of execution and themes. And you know what? When characters behave in a way that is expected, themes arise from that. That's the problem.
they can.
Is
Yeah, you're right. They could. If
Yeah.
you've got the logical consistency of, hey, we're storming Normandy, and here's Private who's ever, Private Umpty Squat from the Big Red One is storming Normandy, and we just follow him through it, then that's what we get with these two. And if you add good writing and a theme, what you get is Band of Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Which
you
is a
can't have
hugely.
Band of Brothers by starting with themes.
No, you probably can't.
No, yeah, exactly.
I
So you
agree.
have to start
I don't
from
like Band
my
of
pyramid.
Brothers. I never liked it.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, it's
And
fine
it's
for
been
what it
years since I've
is.
seen it, but so I'm not going to argue about it, but the don't do that. Don't do that.
What?
don't don't stake your pyramid on Game of Thrones. You
No, this
also
is.
said it was bad.
I know it's bad, but this from Game of Thrones season 5 and on is themes and characters, and these two are just abandoned and burned. So this is what you get. So if you only care for the
First of all,
bottom
you're
two.
giving Game of Thrones way too much credit
How am
because
I
the
giving? I
characters
hate it.
were also dead.
I
they're
I
they're
hate it.
you're missing every part of the pyramid for Game of Thrones season 5 and on.
Um,
There's
the characters existed. I mean,
you've
Jon
you've
Snow's still in it.
well,
I mean, he's still there, and he was. The theme is there, and
Jon
the
Snow
characters are
though,
there.
the character that he was though is not the character that he became in season 5 and beyond. After season 5, he only had one
Well,
line. It
what
was
about
"She's my
this? What
queen."
about what about if I made it look like this?
Perfect,
It's crumbling. Season 5 and on
wonderful.
is
Yeah.
crumbling and bad. The characters existed.
I
You
look.
just don't like them.
I'm trying
You
to
just don't
help
like them.
your argument.
Okay.
Okay, like
This is crumbling.
you
It's
you can
crumbling.
give yourself
It's
Game
it's
of
filled
Thrones season 5 and beyond.
it's filled with cracks. These are cracks. It's cracking.
Sure.
These are cracks.
Well, I'm telling you that logical consistency in characters are going to be the foundation by which your themes arise. So
It's the foundation that gets us World War II documentaries. Yes. And I don't like
it's
those.
also the
I just don't
foundation
like
that gave
them.
us Arcane,
Um,
and you watched
logical
Arcane.
consistency and characters. I
Yep.
watched Arcane. Okay, so let me finish with this topic before we move on to Arcane. I think your pyramid is not wrong. It's just an opinion. My pyramid is not right. It's just an opinion. Um, I built my pyramid this way because I like it that way. It's what I would prefer. You know, I would prefer a cool theme and uh, characters. And if you don't put the other two on top, what you get is season 5 and on of Game of Thrones. You have the themes, you have the characters, but they're such an ugly, bloody mess that it doesn't make any sense and nobody likes it. I get it. If we take out the top two of yours, we get logical consistency and characters, which I think makes World War II documentaries. You get the and if you add the two up here to yours, you get something like Band of Brothers, which is immensely popular, and lots of people love it. Right?
Yeah.
It is some of the most acclaimed television on acclaimed media we ever made. Your thing leads to that. Mine leads to the good seasons of Game of Thrones and or She-Hulk, which is honestly fine with me. So when we go
Well,
back
we
to
have
when we go
all of
back to
the
here,
we
this
have all
She-Hulk.
between the two of us,
Mhm.
we have basically all of the same categories. We have a different hierarchy of what we appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Which is going to come into our
So
political talks
if
later.
you have all of the same hierarchy, then yes, it would be good for both of us when we watch a show that is actually good. My criteria for a good show is one that requires good writing, whereas yours does not.
Um, no, to be good, it has to have good writing. Look, see, we took the writing out, and we got Game of Thrones season 5 and on. The writing went bad. This is what we got. If the
But
writing,
you were okay with how She-Hulk turned out.
yeah, I thought the writing was fine.
I
She-Hulk,
see.
I think
So,
She-Hulk has a full pyramid.
oh,
She-Hulk
okay,
has
yeah,
a full pyramid.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I have to disagree with that, but we can move on.
Okay.
It's fine.
I think She-Hulk has a full pyramid. It has a theme. It has a character. It has good writing, and then it has the logic. It has the illogic that I wanted. Um, She-Hulk literally breaks the fourth wall. That is not logical. I dig that, but it is an illogic that I enjoyed. Um, so if you take parts out, you get different results. So this is my description of Game of Thrones season 5 and on.
So themes
Themes,
is
character.
something that for you does not include necessarily wokeness. Like,
It doesn't have to, but it could. Wokeness,
you
the correct, the way you treat society and the people in it is a theme that could be expounded upon or ignored or challenged.
hmm. I'm interested to understand what you mean when you say themes, then, because
The subject of discourse.
let's
That's
say,
really it.
well, yeah. I mean, so we talked about Star Wars last week,
Hmm.
and there is a moment in it where, what's his name? The guy that's the prisoner, that
Finn.
ends up being like the faux code breaker.
Oh, Benicio del
Um,
Toro. He
that
was
guy.
a fantastic
Yeah.
character.
And he tells uh Rose and uh Poe. Who the hell's there?
It was Rose and Finn.
Rose and Finn.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I
That
love his line.
he's like, yeah, each side, you know, the capitalists, they sell weapons to both sides,
Yeah,
right?
today you kill them, tomorrow they kill you. It's all the same. This is a true neutral character. I love him.
Do you consider that to be a theme of the movie,
For
or is
it
that
is
just something that's been thrown in?
it is one theme of this character and part of the things that Rose and Finn are learning. Yes, they're on Canto Bight. They're seeing the wealth disparity of these very rich people playing in the casino, betting on horses, and they're seeing the other side of that coin, which is the impoverished children that are doing the labor. This is a theme, yes.
Okay. No, well, what I'm trying to understand
That is
is
a
what the themes
discourse.
are for you. Like,
Discourse.
um, okay,
So there is a wealth disparity theme in that scene, in those scenes. In Canto Bight has a wealth disparity theme. Yes,
okay. And so what I want to know is, what are the themes for you in Star Wars: The Last Jedi?
there are lots of them. The wealth disparity, the uh, unnecessity of war, the unnecessary type of war, the anti-capitalism that you see from this guy, or pro-capital. He's both. He this guy is a true neutral character. He sees the futility of this war, yet he is going to profit from it. He is a true neutral character. There are very few true neutral characters. They're very hard to write. I mean, I've written D&D campaigns forever, and it's not easy to write true neutral characters uh, because they end up doing nothing, honestly, because doing nothing is very neutral. Um, I mean, you put your car in neutral to not go anywhere, right? Um, this guy recognizes that sometimes you kill them, sometimes they kill you. Who cares? It's all the same. It doesn't matter. Uh, I'll sell to both sides, and the people here at the casino are selling to both sides. And he makes these. He is friendly with them, with Rose and Finn. He gets them out of jail. Then he turns them in for a reward, and then he disappears. This is a fantastic character. The and he embodies the theme of being neutral, being in the middle, not caring. You didn't like this guy?
I did not think that that was where you were going with themes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That is my explanation of themes. This is fun to watch as this true neutral guy interacts with Rose, who is so one-sided. You know?
well, so this guy kind of reminds me a little bit of Tyler Durden.
Yes, lots of themes in that show, right?
Well, yeah, Fight Club had a lot of themes,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not kind of where I'm going with themes, though. Is it? That's not kind of what I think. And it's a subject of discourse, right? Is a theme where it's okay. Well, capitalism causes these issues. The people that make the weapons, they sell to both sides,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're just out to make the most profit. Okay, that's a theme. That's fine. Him being a true neutral is not a theme. He's just a character. So that goes into a different part of our pyramid. Right.
What his character
So
does,
what
how
his
he's
character does not belong in the themes portion. What
no,
his
what his
character
character
does
does belongs in
belongs in the
characters.
characters portion.
I agree.
Right. So I can't say that the fact that he's a good character makes the movie good, because
It doesn't make the movie good. Him being a good character doesn't make the movie good. The movie overall, if you say it's good or bad, is your uh, is how many cracks there are and how good these bricks are built.
right, except for the fact that he introduces themes that
Yes, he does.
you would say were good.
Yes, he does.
And at what point does that make the movie itself good or bad? Can the themes
You're
on their
asking
own?
overall? Yeah, that's the most important part to me. That's why I put it down here at the base. If you had that guy, but he wasn't introducing themes, it would fall flat for me. It wouldn't be a very good pyramid. If you had themes and writing, but no characters, I mean, it would still fall flat for me. It would just not be a perfect little pyramid. When all the pieces align and it makes a good pyramid, it's a good movie. Does that mean there can't be any cracks? No, there could be cracks. There could be cracks within the logic. There could be cracks within the
Well, hold on a
writing.
second.
Yeah.
Did you spend a whole weekend with me arguing about movies you actually, or TV shows and movies you actually didn't like?
No, I liked them.
Why?
Why? Because they had a good. They built the pyramid properly. Was the pyramid perfect?
Hold on.
No.
You're saying you think that you actually just said this is
Hmm.
you that She-Hulk actually had the full pyramid. Okay,
Yeah, it
I
had a
see.
good theme. It had good characters. It had good writing, and the logic I thought was fine. I didn't see any glaring problems with the logic. I didn't see her teleport from Winterfell to the Red Keep in a day. I didn't see any of that. But I put logic up at the top because it's less important to me. If if the logic, if something like the Winterfell thing sticks out, it can hurt me. It can hurt my brain. It can throw me out of the suspension of disbelief kind of thing. And it did that when Braun got this very cool crossbow, and Cersei said, "Go kill my brothers." And then 12 minutes in the showtime later, he was there and shot them. And I was like, wait a minute. Just like you sometimes with the Jeep, or you with what was that other logical thing that I'd never even heard of and thought about? How did Broom Kid find out what happened to
Yeah, how the fuck did Broom Kid know about what happened on Salt World?
that thought had never entered my mind before. But sometimes the logic is so bad that it hits me in the brain. Braun getting that crossbow, showing up 7 minutes later, and then shooting them. I was like, wait a minute, how did Braun get there? At the beginning of this show, it took them months. This was a giant ordeal. Going from Winterfell to the Red Keep was a months long expedition, and he just did it. And then I was like, God, how? And then all of the logic starts tumbling down. All these green logic blocks start tumbling down from that
Well,
point.
okay, so you're saying that your pyramid's a little different from mine,
Yes.
basically. Is that mine is how you build a good show, and yours is like a mountain.
Yeah.
Like for yours, if the top of the mountain is fucked up, like really badly,
I just
that's
climbed
going
the.
to
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna like it as much.
yeah, that's gonna fuck up the show, basically. Like
If any part of
like
this, if any part of this is missing or severely damaged, it's going to severely damage my appreciation of it.
okay, I can appreciate that. I think we have different values
Yes, we
in
do.
terms of
Almost like there's
what makes a good
a
show.
theme to the that's going to start showing up within the YouTube channel itself.
Well,
We have different
you know
values.
what?
We have different values. We appreciate different things. You know what I mean? I'm
Of
willing to.
course.
I'm gonna throw this out there. At some point, oops, I'm going to build very similar pyramids with you about politics.
Yeah, you can hold Control Z until we have both the
God no,
pyramids
I refuse.
back together.
I probably should. I did so much.
um, here's what I will say is I would like to contrast or to compare our pyramids in terms of something that we like together as opposed to something that we dislike. And that is Arcane.
Yeah, I liked Arcane. Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, I liked Arcane. It had
So,
very good themes, and it had good characters. And I thought the writing was good, and the logic was fine. I,
yep.
I measured it in that way, in my head, because I think about my thoughts. I think that's a sign of intelligence, is if you think about your thoughts. And my thoughts were, hey, this is a good theme. There's uh, themes of uh, was the political themes like the two different societies, the wealth inequality, the way that the lower class has to live, the way that they have to commit crimes, the way that they are attracted to drugs, the upper people are in an academy and they're doing uh, liberal arts and they're learning about things and they're doing science and they're in this big prestigious academy and that has a whole bunch of weight behind it and things that are happening and the when these two things clash, what happens when the two worlds clash and collide? The characters were, I think, well written and made sense and did things that I thought those characters would do in those situations. The writing was good, and I didn't. There weren't any giant logic bombs that slapped me right in the face. Nobody teleported to Winterfell, so it was, I think, a good show. It had all of the things. But please describe yours to me.
Well, every character did things that I expected them to, based on what I had been shown previously,
Mm-hmm.
right? So nothing happened that was out of the ordinary, other than, of course, what I expected from those characters. They all behaved in ways that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the rules of the world made sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there's logical consistency right there. And
Okay.
then characters were great. You had a number of characters, some with flat and some with dynamic character arcs.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked all of them. Here's the thing is that they managed to incorporate characters that managed to introduce certain themes,
Mm-hmm.
but even without that, it was still a good show. And yeah, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
The score, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't imagine anybody that has a negative opinion of Arcane. Part of the and think about how much wokeness is in Arcane, right? You have certain themes, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
the class disparity.
Mm-hmm.
You have uh, LGBTQ in there.
Mm-hmm.
We have very strongly written female characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I think when I think themes. Um, we have those,
I
and
agree.
yet
There's
it's
a ton of themes
beloved.
within Arcane. Tons of it. which is why
It
these critics. I should probably swap the pyramids, since it seems that critics are on this side and the audience is on the side. So, but yeah, the critics are at 100% because it has very solid themes. It has very good characters. It has good writing, and the logic works. And then the fans like it because it also has logical consistency, characters, the execution of the themes. Okay. Um,
like it's a very, very good show.
maybe it's not a
Is
pyramid.
the point. Yeah, the pyramid's sort of a maybe a box, yeah,
Yeah,
that has
it's a
all these
tower.
things.
It's a tower rather than a pyramid.
So,
What's the difference? Is that what we're getting towards?
well, yeah, Arcane is able to have strong women. It's able to have themes that you appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, about the class conflict and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between Arcane and She-Hulk, for example, or Arcane
I think
and
there's
The Lord of the Rings?
I think there's very little difference between them. And you know who would agree with me? The critics.
The critics, yeah.
There is
Well,
very
the
little
critics
difference
are
between
not
them.
very well respected right
Well,
now. That discrepancy exists for a reason. And I'm
I mean the.
asking you
Mhm.
what it is that, I mean, the audience agrees with me. So why is it? Why does Arcane have such a great score compared to The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power? Why does Arcane have a great score compared to She-Hulk in terms of critic and audience score and the disparity between them? Like,
Is
the
it because
audience
they?
score is only 4 points off of the critic score on Arcane. Like, and the critic score is 100%. It's literally as good as it gets,
Mhm.
right? Why is it that the audience has a 96% score on Arcane, but only has a 33% score on She-Hulk?
Subtlety. Subtlety. That's it. The
Writing.
no subtlety. Well, the subtlety of the writing. Sure. Um, Arcane has themes. If you are a critic, the themes are slapping you right in the face. All the themes are slapping you right in the face within Arcane. If you're a critic, if you're not a critic, the themes aren't slapping you in the face. The the sentence from She-Hulk that we described when Jennifer is explaining that one terrible sentence, she's talking to the wrong guy. She says
Yep.
that to him. It
Uh-huh.
hits the audience in the face with the
Yeah.
theme.
It's fucking
Audiences
awful.
don't like to be hit in the face with a theme. There was a movie. What was the movie? Jack Black, Shallow Hal. Have you ever seen that one?
Nope.
It was bad. It hit you over. It didn't hit you in the face with a theme. It hit you with a chair right in your skull with the theme. The theme was fat people can be pretty. The Shallow Hal is a bad movie where Jack Black gets hypnotized into seeing inner beauty, and the person he sees inner beauty in is a very fat woman. And he's shallow, and he normally wouldn't hang out with this very fat woman, but then he likes her. And it just bashes you over the face with the theme. The theme is uh, you should look inside people and not judge them by their appearance.
Okay. And when it bashes you over the head like that, I'm gonna say
People don't
that
like it.
makes for bad
Yes,
television.
I agree. It makes it bad. So even
Why is themes then the basis for
because they're the
your
most
pyramid?
important part.
No.
Yes, they're
The
far
most
more
important part is to write something good. And
It
then the
can't be
themes
good if
arise from that.
it can't be good if it doesn't have a good theme.
No. It can.
It can't.
the
I'm going
themes
back to
come
Aesop.
from being written good. Okay,
Okay,
like
I'm going back to the tortoise and the hare. Was the tortoise and the hare? Where does the tortoise and the hare fall in on this? On this, it doesn't have any logical consistency.
can you think of anything that has a bad theme?
Yeah, sure.
Like
Bad
what?
themes, poorly defined themes, or just the wrong themes.
No, any good piece of media, anything good that has a bad theme.
Um, they still show it in film school. It's called Birth of a Nation. It has very racist themes. It's a
Fuck!
white
I wish I
supremacy.
had seen this already. Because I have not.
Okay,
But
you
I
shouldn't.
know the name.
Birth of a Nation is a very racist, very bad, very. I mean, it's what the Klan watches on a Thursday afternoon. It's what they like. It's what they love, and it actually literally invented a whole bunch of camera tricks and angles and stuff like that that people still use today. They show it in film school, not
So it has
because
good execution,
it
is what you're
has
saying.
gorgeous execution. And when it was made back in like the 20s or the 30s, it was doing things with
Bad
cameras that
themes.
nobody had ever done before. But horrible, nightmare, terrible KKK things, but
What?
excellent execution. So I don't
I
think that's
literally
a
have never seen
good
this before.
movie. Nobody
So,
should watch it.
um,
Um, but they only show parts of it in like film school to teach you like here's the history of film. In the history of film, it was important because of its execution and the way it used a camera that no one had ever done before. And that execution was so good at the time that some people didn't care about the other things. And the bad people loved the theme of the movie. If you're a Klan member, you love the theme and you have a really good execution. So that to them made it a good movie for them. It's not a good movie. It doesn't. I hate the themes. I hate the characters. There's almost no writing, and hell, I'll even say the political logic is no good. So it's just not a good movie for me. But its execution is very good. Um, certain. This is what I'd prefer my pyramid to look like. If it's missing writing, but it has still has good logic and it's just poorly written, almost like a YouTube sketch or something along those lines. A YouTube sketch that's kind of funny, has a good character, and there's a reason for the thing they're saying. Even if the writing is bad, I could still kind of appreciate it. That doesn't mean
that makes it mediocre.
it makes it
I mean, let's be
mediocre.
real.
Right. It makes it
Like,
a 50% or something along those lines. So uh, what we have here with these critics is, hey, this is a fine theme for Shallow Hal. It's a bad movie. It has a good theme. We recognize the theme, but you're bashing it over the face with us. The characters were mediocre, the writing was mediocre, the logic was so you get a 50. You know, even though it has a theme that I would appreciate, a theme that I would uh, suggest that everyone should appreciate. Someone should recognize that you don't have to judge people by their outward appearance. This is a good theme. This is an acceptable thing that we ought to be teaching people. They just didn't do a good job with it.
sure. And it's got a 50-50 score,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Audience and critic.
Mm-hmm. And it and
And
if you were upset with this movie, it was funny. But if you were upset with this movie, if you were an audience member and you said, "Oh, I hate this," it's because it bashed you in the face with a chair with the theme of, "Hey, fat people are good too." Like it just hits you with it, and it's terrible.
do you think that Shallow Hal could have been written better?
Yes,
Do you think that it could have been written so that it got a 100% on the critic rating and a 95% on the audience rating?
if it was more subtle and not bashing you in the face with a chair. Yes, if it were subtlety, if it were uh, arcane levels. Does Arcane bash you over the face with its themes, with its class divide, with its uh, message of, hey, there's two worlds,
Well,
the
that's
rich and the
kind of what
poor?
I'm saying, isn't it?
I don't know.
That's
Are you?
that's my whole argument
It
is,
isn't, or it is bashing you in the
hey,
face.
that my whole argument is don't bash me over the face with your fucking political messaging.
I can agree to that.
Like, Can you just tell me a good story with characters that make sense, please? Like Arcane has themes
Hmm.
that you agree with.
Yeah, it has themes. It has,
That
well, I mean, you can
it
be on
it
either
it,
side of a
it
theme, honestly, but
well, it has class conflict.
it does.
It has LGBTQ messaging.
It does.
It has uh what the orphans fucking
Yeah, it's got
coming up in a
found family.
world
That's
that what's that?
found family. That's like a theme. They're
Yeah.
they're not actually. Some of
It
them aren't actually family, but then they create bonds and stuff like that. That is a found family theme. Yes.
yes, that's yeah. It has a found family theme. Like these are all fine things to have. It's okay. I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool with is smashing my face with them.
Okay.
Like Arcane is a show that's fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Okay? I love this show. I've showed it to multiple people like in my family even. I've been like, "Hey, I know you don't watch cartoons or anime or whatnot, but watch this." And it's good.
Hmm.
I would not do that for She-Hulk or for Captain Marvel
Because it's hitting you in the face with its theme. Is that a
because the writing. No, hold on.
okay?
We're getting right to exactly where my problem is now.
Okay.
Um, it's not the fact that it hits me in the face with its theme, because you could hit someone in the face with the themes of Arcane, right?
They didn't though.
Um, but they
Okay.
did not. Um, the problem is with these shows and movies, She-Hulk being the current events sort of example for this,
Hmm.
is they came up with the theme first and then they wrote the character around that. They didn't consider logical consistency. They didn't consider making good characters. They thought of themes first and then they wrote the character. Like,
I think that's a legitimate thing to do. You're saying that's an illegitimate, bad thing to do.
I think it's a terrible thing to do.
Okay. I'm gonna
I think that
bounce back to Aesop again. Do you think he saw an ant and a grasshopper? No.
I think that Aesop
He
was
wanted to
written.
tell a
Aesop's
theme,
fables are thousands of years old.
and he had a theme. The theme was work hard and prosper, or slack off and die. That was the theme, right? The tortoise and
I'm
the hare.
telling you about
Yeah,
contemporary media right
I
now.
know, and his shit lasted forever because he built it around a theme. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to get to, is the tortoise and the hare is still a relevant and legitimate piece of media because stalwart, don't give up, slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race is legitimately a lesson all humans need. And he started with that theme and then built the characters around it. And it is a story that's still stuck around.
Okay. These are
Okay.
very simplistic stories.
Yes.
Okay. This is not something that is meant for mainstream media. Like,
Okay.
these stories are very, very simplistic. It's Aesop's fables are not meant for the big screen.
Okay.
Okay. We are talking about things that are.
Okay.
All right. We're talking about
Okay.
She-Hulk. We're talking about Arcane. Look, I get it. Themes are important. I think that in large pieces of media, the theme arises from the story. It's not what the story should be based around. I think that's doing it backwards. I
Hmm.
think that looking at She-Hulk and looking at Captain Marvel, the theme in both of those is men bad, women good.
Absolutely not. That is not one of the themes. If that's what you picked up on it, that's because that's what you perceived. I guess perception is reality, but that wasn't the theme. It wasn't. It wasn't that simplistic. It wasn't. Jen Walters wasn't saying men bad, women good. It's saying here is a problem women have. That's it. If you heard, hey, here's a problem women have, and you said, oh, men are just bad, that's you, not her.
Interesting. So when well, I'm interested to hear more
Right here.
about this.
This is it right here. Look at this. She's telling you a problem that women experience, and a very hard right wing person named Matt Walsh, who is a terrible person, says these experiences she describes are mild annoyances at worst. If that's the hardest thing you deal with in your life, you're exceedingly privileged. He felt attacked by a woman telling him her problems. She said, hey, I've got this issue. And he's like, ugh, you're just saying men bad. He, that's a problem with him, not her.
Well, her problems are specifically focused towards men, aren't they? And the way that men
Treat
talk
her?
to her,
Yes.
treat her.
That is a
Yeah.
problem she has.
Okay.
And if she has a problem with that, and you have a problem with her saying it, that's you now. Matt Walsh has a problem with her. And his problem is that he's a toxic male piece of shit. And if you tell him he's a toxic male piece of shit, he's going to cry about it and play the victim and say that she's just being woke. And
Yeah, see, I don't have a problem with her being upset about these things. It's upset about these things to the point of becoming a Hulk over it, and then also the person that she's talking to
okay, well, let's go
is
to a
my
different
issue.
decision. Let's go to a different situation then, so we don't go back into this.
Yeah.
I don't. I was waiting. Captain Marvel came out.
Mm-hmm.
The internet very much hated it because it was woke. Yes or no?
Um, I don't know. I actually watched Captain Marvel last night to prepare for this.
Go woke, go broke was coined during this time. They hated it. The internet screamed about Captain Marvel and reverse sexism and all kinds of wild shit.
There were other things I think at the time that were taking place. There was oh shit. This came out in what, 17?
2019.
19.
But it got pushed
Um
back, I think, from 18 or something along those lines. Anyway, regardless, what about it?
this came out in between Infinity War and Endgame.
I think so.
Um it came out in a time where people were probably feeling a lot of this sort of wokeism in Hollywood that has become very pervasive.
Oh, I think their idea of it is pervasive. I think they are overreacting and over-exaggerating most of it. I think
I
most
think that
of the
Captain
people
Marvel
are
was
overreacting.
I think Captain Marvel was a an okay film, which look at that, the audience score agrees with me.
Right.
It's an
When
okay film.
it's an okay film, a 45. I agree. The critics didn't love it either. It didn't follow all of the uh, steps really well of the hero's journey. It was okay. I agreed. But when I walked into it, what was I thinking? I was thinking the internet has gone absolutely apeshit over this thing. And there must be some wild SJW shit. And it just wasn't there. There wasn't any wild, overly SJW shit in there. There wasn't. And I was walked out thinking, what they watch? What upset them so much? And I don't know what upset them. If it's there, I didn't see it. I don't know what it was.
I would say a 45 audience score sort of tells you that there isn't anything that was particularly upsetting. I mean, a 5 out of 10 is average,
Right.
right? And that's what this movie is. It's okay. I think it could have been a lot better. It could have also been a lot worse. Captain Marvel is one of those movies where I didn't care about it or about its characters.
Mhm.
And it was fine for what it was. She-Hulk is one where I actively disliked the main character because of the way she behaved in the first episode. So Captain Marvel has a very feminist take on things,
Mhm.
and that's fine. I don't like the actress, but I do appreciate the movie itself for what it is. It's an average movie, and I would give it an average score. She-Hulk
So would I. Yeah.
is different because I don't like the main character. I actively dislike her
That's fine.
because of her behavior. And I think that the show would be better if the character was better. But Captain Marvel, it's like, okay, whatever.
Why do the fans
you know,
think it's over politicized?
in terms of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Probably because the movie politicizes things. It isn't like one of her core memories having a pilot tell her that like, you know why it's called a cockpit, right? And it's like, okay, I get it. Like, you're doing the thing, right? But
Okay. So somebody made a sexist remark and she didn't like it. I mean, okay. I think I've
exactly,
highlighted.
yeah.
I've got it highlighted right here. However, the movie was blatant about its politicization, which something fans do not like. They only like politicization when it's very
Subtle.
well subtle. When it's subtlety. See? That's why I said subtlety. Uh, they don't like it when it's obvious. They have to be tricked. The normies have to be tricked into accepting wokeism. They have to be tricked into it. You can't say, hey, you guys, we're going to pass a legislation about gay marriage. You have to trick them into accepting gay people with will and grace. You have to slowly boil them in the water, I suppose.
Like frogs.
Like the
And
frogs. They're turning the frogs gay. Yes, I know. You have to slowly bring them into this idea. You have to baby
well,
step the normies into progress. You have to baby step the normies into the future, or else they will fight and run backward.
I'm okay with that. I am very happy to see very good media. If it includes, you know, certain agendas, that's fine. Just don't slap me in the fucking face with it, dude.
So,
Don't hit me with it. Just show me good shit.
so I'm gonna have to very slowly trick you into becoming a leftist. I went
Yeah,
there because
do
okay,
that.
shit.
Show me good stuff. Like, why is it that Captain Marvel has to slap me in the face with, you know why it's called a cockpit, right? No, yeah, stop. Stop right there. Or why does She-Hulk have to hit me with, I regulate my emotions infinitely more than you because I get catcalled to Bruce Banner. Stop. No. It doesn't that's not it's not a thing. I very much enjoy Arcane. Arcane has very strong female characters. They have their own motivations. Two of them may possibly be homosexual.
But it's
That's
very
all
lightly hinted at.
fine. And you know what? In season 2, they might be full homosexual. And you know what? I'll be cool with it because guess what?
Okay.
They made it work.
Okay.
It's
So
not the characters. First of all, the characters are not homosexuals first. They are
I agree.
the characters, and
They are a
they
person.
happen to
Great.
be of the sexuality that
Just
they
like
are.
people in real
That's
life.
perfectly
Okay, great.
fine. Just like people in real life.
Just like
Why
people in
is
real
it
life.
that if we have a homosexual character, we have to emphasize it so much? Why can't it just be normal?
I I agree. Bad media does prioritize those things, but
It should
if I
not,
sug-
is what I'm saying.
it shouldn't, but they are often pressed for time and or being written by someone who isn't that thing. Um, if all the writers for League of Legends were, or for Arcane here, were men, do you think they would do a bad job on the female characters?
I don't know what gender the writers of Arcane
I
are.
don't know either. But
So, what if they were all men?
then did they write good female characters? We'd have to ask females. I don't know.
I think they did.
I don't
I
know
think
any.
they
What
wrote
am I going to do?
great female characters.
I
I
think they
love the
did
female
too.
characters.
You and I
What
liked them. We have to, and so we'd have to find a female reviewer and see if they agreed with us that those are good female characters. Um, but I think they, uh, I think what was the point I was getting at? Yeah, representation and uh, equality are good things that media can bring us. And if and what I'm seeing from what you're saying and what we've looked at today is that we have to sneak it in there. We have to
No,
slow walk the. We have to subtly slow walk the normies
don't
into
don't
the
smash
future.
it in our
Don't smash
faces.
it in the faces.
Write
Right,
good
subtly.
things.
Okay.
No, it's not subtle.
It's not
It's not
subtlety.
about
It's got to be written
sneaking
good.
themes in and subtlety.
Okay.
It's about things making sense. It's smashing things in the faces is bad regardless of how you do it.
I agree. Smashing faces, smashing it right into the face is bad. The Captain Marvel cockpit joke is a bit on the nose. I agree.
It is. That
The
that is what it is.
Yeah.
It's when things are so on the nose,
You can't
it's
see
just
past it.
bad.
Okay, you can't see
Right.
past it. If it's on the
Don't do
nose
that.
and it's still a good theme, I don't mind it as much. I guess that okay. So there's our splits. If the critics are on the nose, if the critics see something on the nose and it fits within this, they're fine with it and they give it an okay score. If the fan hierarchy people are hit on the nose with it, they recoil.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely say that's correct. Yeah.
And
I would say
that's how I would describe your description of Jen Walters. You got hit on the nose and you recoiled. And from then on, everything is a problem. Everything is all of a sudden nitpicked. I'm not going to say you were nitpicking the show, but you did see things that I did not see because I wasn't in the recoiled position. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, until I was told that, or rather, until we agreed to have this conversation, I'd only watched a handful of episodes of She-Hulk because
Mhm.
I didn't like her to begin
You
with.
recoiled. You got hit with something
Well, yeah,
that you
I
didn't
looked
like,
at
and
it.
you
I saw something I
avoided.
didn't like, and I said, "Fuck that,"
Okay.
and I quit.
Okay.
And that was it. That was all of my experience with She-Hulk. And then we agreed to have this conversation today, and
Mhm.
I forced myself to watch all of it, and did not enjoy it any more after watching all of it than I did
That's fine.
after the first episode.
That's fine.
So, um, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. I mean, I
That's
think that being
fine. I think
ham-fisted in things is probably bad.
ham-fisted. There you go. That's a good explanation. Shallow Hal was very ham-fisted. Um, I could see your point in suggesting that that one part of Jen's dialogue was ham-fisted. I could see that. I didn't feel it was at the time. I thought it fit within the theme, and that's what's important to me. But if your themes are up here, this would come off as ham-fisted to you. To me, this was just a stating of the theme. She's just telling us what the theme is because when an audience, an American audience, doesn't have things put right in front of them, they might not notice it. Do you think, now, hypothetical question here, do you think any of these people here in the 96% right here, in the audience average score, don't know that they're lesbians? Is there anybody who missed that? I would suspect that there are people who missed that.
Yeah, probably. There are
Okay.
probably some people that didn't recognize the like the sort of backhanded facial stroke as like a move of like actual affection.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's anybody within this audience score that doesn't recognize the class divide? They don't see it as political.
Maybe um this one's a yes, except for the fact that I think that that is a fundamental point that's in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that is a fundamental driver of the conflict in the show. So
Okay.
I can't say that I think that people don't realize it. I think that maybe people don't think about it
I think
is a
they
better way to put it.
I think they don't realize it. Is Captain Marvel political? Is Captain Marvel
Is
political?
it
Right here,
not in the
Captain
same
Marvel,
way?
in its essence, is a political film. So it's right here on this website, and that is the reason that people hated it on the internet. It's overly politicized. It's a political film. We don't like it. But
I
Arcane
disagree with
is
that.
even more
Oh,
political. I would suggest that Arcane
Arcane
is
is
even more
exactly
political,
Arcane. Well, look, you're making my point for me then.
but it's subtle. It's
It's
not
more
hitting the notes.
political,
Yes, it's more
but
political.
it doesn't. It's not ham-fisted about it.
It's
Is the
subtle.
thing.
Okay. So,
Is Arcane has a lot of politicization. It's
but
got the class conflict. It's got feminist perspectives.
mhm.
It's got strong women characters. It's got fucking some lesbianism in it. Possibly some
Yeah,
gay
old
characters
boy
as well
Victor. Yeah.
between
Um,
Jason Victor. Yeah,
mhm.
but
And because the
you know
normies
what?
didn't
The point
feel
is,
like it was political.
Arcane is telling us a good story
I
that's
would
logically
I
consistent
would
with
say
the
that
way the
Arcane is
characters
better
would
than
behave.
Captain Marvel. I would agree.
It's amazingly better. Are you
But it
kidding? I
didn't get
mean,
dragged through Twitter as being woke and overly political, even though it is even more woke and more overly political than Captain Marvel.
well,
So we have
you're
to
telling me right now that
subtly.
writing
Mhm.
is important.
Yeah, it is. I agree. I think the point I'm getting at is that it has to be subtle, or else the normies are going to get upset with it.
Okay, do you think that a story can be told well if it's smacking you in the face the whole time?
If it's smacking you in the face the whole time, then it wouldn't have been told well.
Well, there you go.
The the smacking in the face is a bad execution of the theme. I would say the theme can be fine. I can agree with the theme of Shallow Hal, but I think it's characters and writing are so bad that it hurts the whole thing. So the characters and writing are bad. Doesn't matter how good the theme is. You're not left with a full pyramid.
Well, then you agree with me then.
I agree. I'm getting to the point. We're coming to different points though, is what I'm getting at. The themes are important and the baseline, but you can't hit the audience in the face with it, or else you get this instead of this. I think Arcane is more political, more
It
divisive
is. That's the thing,
than
though.
Captain
Is
Marvel.
I'm telling
But
you, I want good writing.
okay,
I don't
so
care
you're
about the
not
themes.
so you're not worried about wokeism.
Not
Wokeism
at
isn't
all.
a thing. It's very
No,
much
it's
overly
it's it's
exaggerated.
it is. And
Great.
and the backlash against wokeism, I'm gonna tell you this.
Uh huh.
The backlash against wokeism is because everything that forces wokeism in your face forces bad writing as well. That's the problem. Is that writing is taking a back seat to wokeism.
Wokeism. No. I think the theme happens first, and then they just write it poorly. The theme
That
of
you're
Captain
just
Marvel
wrong. I'm
is
telling you,
the themes of Captain
look,
Marvel were put first, yes, but they were not. They could have been done better. It's not wokeism isn't causing bad writing. That's absolutely, I think, insane. Do you think wokeism is causing the bad writing?
yep,
I
absolutely.
I absolutely not. Um, the woke theme is the reason they want to make the show. The woke theme is the reason they want to create a thing. They want to tell you something. They want to tell you. They want to deliver a message. And do they screw it up and give you a piss poor analogy like in Captain Marvel, or do they give you a very subtle, very highly political thing like Arcane? That is the quality of writing, I agree. But they both started with themes. I cannot even imagine Arcane didn't start with a theme. Shit, it might have, because it was just video game. Well, the writing for the video game had to have themes. So it's a video game. I've never, ever, not one time, played League of Legends. It's competitive, so I don't do it. I'm not a competitive person. Um, so this video game probably started with cool characters. And I don't mean character arcs with stories. I mean visuals. And after that visual, they added backstory with themes. Am I? You think I'm wrong here?
No, they added backstory. That's correct.
Okay, so they
Um,
added
and then
backstory, and that
and then
backstory is built around the themes. That's why I've put it at the bottom and most important part of the pyramid.
well, here's the thing though, is those champions, Vi and Jinx and Victor and Jace
Mm-hmm,
and whatnot,
mm-hmm.
are they all fall within the characters section, which we have at the same
They
point
are
in our
archetypes.
pyramids,
Yes, I agree.
right? And then
That's why you can compare them to other character archetypes. I mean, that's why people compare them to Harley Quinn and the Joker, because they
there
are
comes the question
archetypes.
of how do they behave, right? Which falls under, in my opinion, logical consistency. So if Jinx is a person with incredible trauma
Mm-hmm.
throughout her early life, does she behave in a way that's consistent with that? And the answer is yes. She's a crazy person,
I agree.
right? Um, and
She is a
we
good character. Yeah,
understand what's that?
she is a good character, and she's written consistently. I agree.
Right. She's written very consistently. She acts in accordance with everything there. It's if your promotion is themes, then well, she probably wouldn't behave in a way that's consistent with being a crazy person. She'd be a strong female character that that
You're,
doesn't
no,
have any.
you're misunderstanding what themes are. Um, if we take out, ignore themes, this is gone. All we have is Jinx, well written, doing what Jinx does, and all I do is just watch her um, kill people for no reason. I watch her in a Michael Bay movie. Explosions. She says funny things. She does things, and I don't know who the people are. I don't know who she's fighting, and I don't know why she's fighting them. I don't know why she's blowing things up. I don't have a world that she lives in. Then there is no themes, and I would not have a good time with it. If we just watched Jinx and only the fight scenes, I would not enjoy it. I wouldn't have a good time. It would have character. She's there. She's blowing things up. So what she does, she carries the gun. She talks to herself and she shoots things. Great character. Got it. She's well written. She's making good jokes, and she's got the logic of the bombs going off and the things blowing up. But I don't know why she's doing it. I don't care. I don't.
The why is part of the character.
The why is severely part of the theme.
Ooh, we disagree right there.
Why is Jinx doing the thing she's doing? Not why is she the way she is. Why she is the way she is part of the character. Why she is interacting with the world the way she's interacting with the world is the theme. Let me go back to here. The discourse. She is the subject. What she does is the discourse. She is the subject. What she does with the world, her
This
interaction
is
with
what's
the
so
world is the
backwards about
discourse.
what we think. What we each think is such a dichotomy
Which is why
because
someday soon we're going to draw
I
these,
think
these pyramids
that
for politics.
right, the way that she behaves is yes, part of her character, and then writing it in a consistent way is part of the logical consistency of that character.
The actions that she
And
takes,
yes, so
part of
she
logical
is
consistency.
exactly. Yeah. So she has a certain way about her.
Mm-hmm.
That's her character.
I agree.
She is relatable in some ways. She has a character arc.
Mm-hmm. I
That is
agree.
separate from understanding that this character would behave in a certain way, which is where the logic comes in. So if I understand who a character is and who they are and how they would behave, then that next step comes from logical consistency. Where, okay, this character is going to do this thing. Luke Skywalker, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I expect to behave in a certain way because of the way he's been established. I expect him to see the light in people and try to extract that. I don't expect him to try to kill somebody because he sees a shadow of darkness in them. I expect him to try to see the light in them and bring them towards the light, the same way that he did with Darth Vader.
His struggle is the point.
I don't expect him to see the darkness in somebody and then try to kill them.
He didn't.
It doesn't make it's not consistent to me.
I would disagree with you saying he tried to kill him. I don't think that's what happened. He thought about it. He discussed it within his brain. He had a discussion within his mind on what should I do about this. One of the answers being murder this kid.
He was literally over his. I mean,
Yes,
whether or not
and
his
he
lightsaber
was
was turned on,
struggling with the idea.
it's
And then in his explanation, he decided not to do it. But then Kylo woke up right at that moment, and then they fought. From Kylo's point of view, the guy's about to murder you, and that cannot be forgiven. So this is a perspective problem between the two of them, which is a theme. you, I think that you are
Luke.
describing themes. and you're calling it something incorrect. You're calling it
Luke
logical
never
inconsistency.
would have done that. Is what I'm saying. Is Luke never would have been hovering over him with his
Says
lightsaber, whether
you.
it was on or not. Luke never would have done that.
Says you. Says
Says me.
you. Yes. You
Says
dislike
everything
what
that
the
makes
author.
sense about what the
You
characters.
dislike what the author is showing you. The author is showing you something and you don't like it. And I get that. I recognize how an author can show you a thing and you just be like, I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't like the way he's portraying it. I can comprehend that. But the people who are putting these numbers on the critic side are doing it from a step back kind of a thing. Um, I knew a guy who put himself in the shoes of every single person in every movie he ever watched. You know what I mean? I went to watch a movie
Okay.
with him, and we watched the movie, and he was like, "Oh yeah, if I was there, I'd do this, and if I was there, I would have done it like this, and this guy's stupid for not doing it like I would do it." And I was like, "Man, just like take a step back and just watch what he's doing, and watch the movie." Does that make sense? And that's what the critics are doing.
Yes.
That's what these critics are doing. They're taking a step back. They're not uh, inserting
Inserting themselves.
themselves
Yeah.
into that, and they're just saying, "Hey, what's here? What's the story? What's happening? How are they? How is that character reacting to this situation?" And that is why they have a better view of these things.
Better.
That's why they have a more favorable view of things like Last Jedi and She-Hulk. I'm not inserting myself into She-Hulk and saying, "Hey, do I like this lady? Do I want to spend time with her? Do I want to hang out with her? Am I walking into the courtroom with her?" I'm saying
Isn't that sort
this
of the
is an
point of a
unlikable
show,
lady.
though? Like,
Even if you say, I think she's an unlikable lady, the fact that you said you don't like her means you're inserting yourself into the media. You don't
aren't
like this person.
that's the whole point, though. You're supposed to insert yourself into the media. Like
That's
that is the point. The character is supposed to be relatable. You're supposed to be able to like this person so that you can root for them. I mean, that's sort of part of the I suppose unofficial hero's journey is like at the beginning of a movie, you a lot of times you see that a guy is sort of, down on his luck, right? Or a girl is sort
mm-hmm,
of down on her luck. And things are not going well for him or her. And over the course of the movie, things happen. But because you can relate with them, you root for them to do well.
mm-hmm.
And that's how you get your protagonists,
Relatability. I
right?
can understand relatability, yes. But if you're going to
So,
critique a thing, you have okay. So here we are. If you're going to critique a thing, you have to take yourself out of it. Um, if you're going to enjoy a thing, you have to put yourself into it.
okay.
So what we've got
Well,
here, what we've got
I
right here,
I
what we've got right here, I'm looking right at it. The audience put themselves into that and did not like it. They did not like the way Luke acted. They did not like the way it made them feel about him. The critics took themselves out of that equation. They are looking at a situation that they are not a part of and said, yeah, okay, he did this and then he did that and then he made these decisions and that's why he did it and it makes sense and we like it. And there's a overall thematic story here being told. That is why they take themselves out. They see it from a higher vantage point, and the people who are on the ground, the plebs almost, are living it. And that's where our divide probably actually stems from.
you calling me a pleb?
No, I'm saying that you have the
I'm
viewpoint of the
just fucking with
plebs.
you.
I have you. You have the
Um,
viewpoint of the plebs.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like you're sort of we have a weird situation here because normally, politically speaking, you're on the side of the plebs.
I'm on doing what's best for the plebs.
Whereas I'm a very hierarchy focused person.
I know you are. And that's why the other reason I'm drawing the triangles, because this is going to come into play when we talk about more political situations. Um, the
So you're on
hierarchy.
board with the hierarchical view of things. You're
No,
just
I'm not
not
on
in
board for a.
favor of what the plebs think is right for them.
No, I'm on board for a flattened pyramid. When we draw the pyramids, I want my pyramid to be flatter. Um, I do not want a hierarchy when it comes to democracy. There are, and it becomes two different things. There is a hierarchy that will exist within a democracy. I get that the people should have a vote and things like that, and they vote a representative. That representative is above them in that thing, and then there's a senate, and then there's a president. I get that that exists, but what I don't think is right is a social pyramid. Does that make sense?
Mm,
Um, and with this is a completely different show and a completely different thing, but I'm going to draw a pyramid, and we're going to have a right wing pyramid and a there's going to be a right wing pyramid and a left wing uh, number line because I would like it to be more flat. I don't want a hierarchy. I want a everybody gets a vote and then we make decisions.
oh boy. Um,
But that's a different subject. We'll get into that later. Um, what I am seeing right here, and as we've discussed, the plebs are the normies. I'm going to say normies or plain normal people. Normies don't like where they're standing because they're standing with Luke Skywalker and they don't like what he's doing. So they don't like it. They don't like the way they see Luke Skywalker acting. They don't like the choices he's making. They don't like what he's doing or what he's saying or how he's challenging them. Because sometimes this comes to challenging. I mean, he called the Jedi bad and arrogant, and a lot of people didn't like that. I think that from this viewpoint, the Jedi were bad and arrogant. I think they were. And I think Luke pointed out is good. But I'm not putting myself into the position of Luke. Um, when I play MMOs, I often create female characters. Not because I am that character. I'm creating a friend. So when people ask me, hey, why would you play a girl? Like, I'm not building up myself within that MMO. I'm not going to go into an MMO or any game with a character creator and create a 6'3" white guy with a little bit of bald hair. I'm not going to create that. I'm going to create something interesting. And I think most of the people in this area who gave it a 42, anybody who was in here, and they gave it a low score, it's because they create characters within MMOs that look just like them, so that they can be in the thick of it. They're inside there. They're inserting themselves into this genre. They're inserting themselves into this media. They're inserting themselves into the movie. Where your critic is distancing themselves from it and looking at it from a bird's eye view.
I think that both of the things that you just said are true
Mhm.
in their own way, but not the way that you described it.
Okay.
So I do think that media is designed for the audience to be able to insert themselves into situations. So if you were Spider-Man,
Mhm.
for example, like when we watch Tobey Maguire play Spider-Man in Spider-Man 1 with the Green Goblin and whatnot,
Mhm.
people like to insert themselves into that situation where it's them that's fighting, the Green Goblin.
Hmm. Yeah, that
Um,
that is a very common thing.
whereas, and that's sort of how things are designed. Even there are a lot of things that are designed to be that way, where um,
Fan insert characters,
I
yes.
expressed I expressed a strong dislike of the Halo show
Hmm.
to you, and you've never played Halo.
Never played
Um,
Halo, don't know the story, never seen the show.
don't know the story.
Nothing.
Never seen the show. I hated it.
Hmm.
The Master Chief in that show is meant to be a self-insert character. He intentionally did not have any dialogue, or not much dialogue, in the first 3 games.
Because he is
And
a character insert. Right. That makes sense.
exactly,
It's a
he's a
first person
character
shooter.
insert.
He's a
It's a
first person
first-person
shooter. You
shooter.
are the Master
You
Chief. Yes.
are the Master Chief, exactly. And you don't, you never see his face.
Hmm.
For the first 5 games, actually, you never see his face.
Hmm. And the people liked that, right?
Yeah, they loved it.
Because they're
It's
inserting
a
themselves and
self-insert character,
they're feeling this story is happening to them.
and I get that. I mean, that's how media is supposed to be.
Hmm.
But then you remove yourself from that, and okay, is media good when you remove yourself from that? And you just had something with a 90-something% uh, tomato score versus the.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
No, it was something else
Okay.
with a much lower audience score.
And Star Wars. So
Well,
yeah, I
Star Wars, yeah. Star Wars, I mean, Luke was a self-insert kind of character for a long time.
in the original trilogy, so 4, 5, and 6, I could understand how he would be seen as a self-insert character. He was a farm boy from the middle of nowhere. So is most of the world at the time.
So
1978,
he
there was a
was
shitload of
relatable.
people like that. He was relatable. He was uh, a kid who didn't like his station in life, which is very common for among most every kid in the world. Uh, and he goes on a magical adventure, and it's super fun. Um, a he finds a magic sword, and a wizard teaches him about his magical bloodline. I mean, it's the King Arthur story. Uh, so yes, that is a good story. It's a story that's existed for a very long time. I mean, you recognize the comparisons between Episode 4 and King Arthur, right?
Yeah,
I mean the
I think.
okay, so the remember the old Disney cartoon of King Arthur, or was it called The Magic Cauldron? No, no, no. Disney. Nope. It was a very old cartoon from the 70s.
I can picture in my head what you're talking about, but I don't remember the exact title. So I'll tell you what, you Google, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sword in the Stone. There it is. Baby, here we go. So yeah, this is. I hope I'm not breaking anybody's brain here by comparing the two of them. Uh, but they are shockingly similar. What year did this come out? 1963. Yeah, so this is almost entirely just like Episode 4 of Star Wars. But when Modular leaves, I have to talk to myself. And the answer, hey, look, it's my IT support. Hey, dude, what's up?
Why are you looking at Sworn in the Stone?
It's an old
It's
movie.
from 1963.
It's an old Disney movie.
That movie sucks.
No, it doesn't. You'll love it. You've never even seen it. Get out of here. So, what do we we got? We got Sword in the Stone. I think this very much connects to Star Wars. Let's look that one up. Star Wars, New Hope. Here we go. Yeah, lots of good scores. Sword in the Stone on Rotten Tomatoes. Sword in the Stone. Oh, nobody liked it. But they're even anyway. They're not substantially different. And yeah, they're not substantially different. The fact that there isn't a big gap here, I think, makes it kind of obvious that everybody felt the same about it. Nobody felt the same about this.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry for abandoning you
No,
again.
it's okay. I just kind of talked to myself for a minute. Very unfun.
So you were talking about
It's
King
called
Arthur.
the Sword and the Stone. Remember this?
Okay.
Did you ever see this as a kid?
Sort of. Yeah, I
Okay.
think I did.
1963. I mean, uh, a poor little normal boy finds a magic sword, and then finds out he's part of a very important epic bloodline, and then he meets an old wizard who was a hermit.
Okay.
I mean, Star Wars, right? And then he fights a bad guy.
I mean,
he
you
fights
are
a,
describing the hero's journey that you
he
just
fights a dark
showed
magician.
me on screen multiple
Great.
times.
Okay.
Right?
So yeah.
Little orphan boy. You know,
Yeah. So that is
raised by relatives in solitude.
he sure was.
Suddenly gets taken under wing of funky wizard dude.
Yep. So
Learns that he's been destined to have powerful gifts, but between the two of us, I think I got this cooler stick, right?
Yeah, and that's Sword and Stone, and it's very shockingly similar to Star Wars. Um, so kids can put themselves in this position, and they can put themselves in the position of Luke Skywalker, and that generally leads them to appreciating a thing. So I think
Yeah. So relatability of a character is a big deal
to this score. Yes, I agree. People
to
can't relate.
most people.
Well, to half the people anyway. Well, to most people, relatability, yeah, if they're not critics. If you're you have to describe. I mean, there's two scores here, right? You have to either consider yourself an audience or consider yourself a critic. And if
I'm
you're,
certainly an audience. I don't get
I know,
paid to critique anything.
I'm not
My
paid to. I just do it for fun.
opinions of my opinions of media certainly come from how much I'm able to relate to a person.
Okay.
I don't see why anyone other than these weird critics would have a different opinion about this. I mean, it's you're watching a movie to escape from your reality.
No.
That's what movies are. They're escapism.
You can use them as that. If you say that's your most important part of the pyramid, that's fine.
I would certainly say that everything making sense in terms of my media is what matters to me most, because if I'm going to insert myself into a world, I would like it all to make sense.
Insert yourself into a world. You'd like it all to make sense.
Right. Like, in terms of the rules that are established within that world, right? Like, there can be magic and whatnot. As long as it all makes sense, that's fine. And there are tons of things that can happen. But the fact is that I can relate. I can even relate to Leia in this scenario, in this movie. Like, if Leia was the main character, this would still be a beloved movie.
Okay. Um, okay, but you would
because the
still
shit
insert
she
yourself
does
into
makes
it.
sense. Of course. The same way that I insert myself into Arcane when I watch, and I can see myself as Vander. I can see myself as Vi.
Hmm.
I can see why Jinx behaves the way she does, even though she's fucking crazy, and I don't relate with that, but I understand it.
This is all very
I
disturbing to me.
what? Why is it
No,
disturbing?
the inserting yourself into it befuddles me. It confounds me. I don't get it. I'm watching a story happen, but it's not happening to me. Star Wars is good, and I enjoyed watching it. And I want to see how these people react to each other, and I want to see what happens. But it's got nothing to do with me. I
Interesting. So
don't and
you
can't.
don't.
No, I
So
do not
when
insert myself into these things.
okay, that's
And that puts me on the critic side over here. Not that I
that's
am
different.
paid to find problems with a movie or tell you what the opinion is. I don't get paid to do those things. But because I don't, I think we're coming to a breakthrough here with our group therapy that you and I are in right now. Um, I don't put myself in their shoes.
I see. Yeah, and we are. And you know what's interesting is that
Hmm.
I put myself in Bruce Banner's shoes
Okay.
when
And
we
when
watch
you,
She-Hulk, and when she tells Bruce Banner,
yes,
and we did our accounting
yes,
there of what Bruce Banner has been through, and she tells Bruce Banner, "Oh, I regulate my emotions infinitely more than you," to the guy that's lost two lovers, had his
hmm
best friend die,
hmm
like
and that
all
harm
this shit.
it hurts you.
And
Not
it's
that it
like,
harms you, but it's insulting to you.
excuse me. Yeah, it was insulting.
Okay.
And it's like, excuse me, no, no. That this is not how this works. Like, yeah.
Okay. All right.
um,
Well, there is the reason there are two of these here. There are two scores because it's the people who insert themselves and the people who don't. I am a neutral observer. I can have opinions afterward. Sure, I can think Leia did a good thing or she did a bad thing or her choices were bad, but those don't affect me. I am watching it from a bird's eye view. The
I think that you're in the minority there.
That's why there are so few critics. That's why there's
That's
137 critic reviews to 250,000 audience ratings. You
well,
know?
yeah. Um, I think that the insertion. I mean, if Jen was written as a good character, like one that I could relate with,
One that you could relate to. You would
exactly,
you would like
then
it
that
better.
show would probably be a 90% audience rating, as opposed to a what 30%.
Yeah, it was yeah, 30 to 85.
33%. Yeah. I mean,
I
the
don't
show would
hate.
be a lot higher
Okay.
if Jen was a relatable character that people liked.
Oh, okay.
And that's the thing, though.
I like watching people that aren't relatable and I don't like do things sometimes. Sometimes I dislike them so much that I can't watch it, but that's rare. That's very rare. I can dislike them, their choices and their actions, and still watch it. And I think that they're bad people, but still watch it and enjoy it and appreciate it for what I'm seeing, not by inserting myself into it, but by
I
what
think
I
that
see
you
them
are
doing.
inserted into it, though. I think you can watch a show that you, with a character that you really dislike,
Hmm.
where you personally are having a reaction to what it is that they're doing. And that's important to the story. It's important to you. And you're not just watching them personally. And I'll give you an example.
Hmm.
Oh shit, what's his name? Joffrey. Joffrey Lannister.
Yeah.
You can hate that little motherfucker all day.
Okay.
He's the most hateable person ever.
Okay.
That's not a self-insert.
I think that is a
That's
self-insert.
something where
I think
I
you hate
watch
him
him
because
doing that,
yeah.
and I'm like, dude, you little motherfucker, why the fuck would you do the things that you're doing right now?
Mhm.
You're a piece of shit, and I hate you, right?
Okay.
But you can watch that, and it's still an enjoyable movie or TV show because when you watch that, it's you're still you're hating him, and you're watching him do things that you don't like, but he's behaving within the boundaries of what's been established of his character.
Right. People don't insert themselves into Joffrey. They insert themselves into Tyrion. The two most important scenes that are in the show are when Tyrion's on trial and telling everybody the truth like it is, and he gets persecuted anyway and found guilty anyway. But then he calls for trial by combat or whatever. But and the one I'd say that there's like three really important scenes within the show, and one of them is
Him slapping
slapping the
Joffrey in the
shit
face.
out of Joffrey.
Yep.
And you inserted yourself into Tyrion at that moment.
Of course.
I
Of
watched
course.
I watched it from a bird's eye view of these two characters having an interaction, and I enjoyed it and I loved it. But there was no Waldo inside that show, and
Very interesting.
that puts me over here. I think we've come to the difference between the two. I loved those scenes. I loved watching Joffrey do what he does. I loved Tyrion arguing with him. But Tyrion is a very solid choice for character self-insertion.
Yeah, Tyrion's a great one. I mean, I actually did have a certain degree of self-insertion for Tywin.
I could see that.
I think Tywin was an excellent character.
Mm-hmm.
But also from a removed perspective, he was fucking awesome still.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
like,
yeah, and from from the critics' direction, he is a well-written character. He does all the things he does. He uh, has a cold logic to him that we want to see. I want to see Tywin's cold logic in action. I want to see how it connects to the people around him. I want to see what it does with Tyrion's different version of cold logic. That's Tyrion's a logical person. The choices he makes are sometimes bad, but that's based on his emotions, and this gives him a dynamic. He's the smartest person in the world, but he keeps making emotional decisions. You know.
well, so does Tywin. That's the funny thing is, excuse me. Tywin makes a lot of choices in the show,
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't pick up on if you didn't think about it.
That is based on emotion.
For example, Tywin tells Tyrion to leave his whore at home and not bring her to King's Landing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Tyrion finishes his trial, he demands trial by combat. He's in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds Shay in Tywin's bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear that Tywin is not as he seems most of the time, right? He's got a certain complexity to him. But
I read that as her coming to Tywin. She didn't go there. He didn't bring her there. She went there to try to get Tyrion out of trouble. She was trying to buy his freedom. And he allowed her to pay that price and Tywin allowed her to pay that price without ever having any idea, without ever even thinking about letting Tyrion off the hook. He was getting paid for doing nothing.
See,
But
my thinking of
Tyrion
that
can't
is
see that. He can't see
Tywin.
it. He's too emotional.
Tywin had her in his bed.
Yes.
He was very much against the like what it is to be a horror or horrormonger. Like it's against his morals, I suppose, or
Mm,
what he states to be his morals
sure.
to do that. Like
Outwardly.
he exactly. He outwardly shows
Hmm.
certain things,
Have some discipline.
um,
I agree. He
have discipline
shows
and
have
whatnot,
discipline.
and
Turn
then
these bitches down. I get
there's
it.
a duality there
Yes, but
where
I'm willing to bet he didn't just pick her out of cruelty or malice. The show never states it, and if I remember correctly, the book doesn't actually describe it, who goes to who. But when I read that scene, I said, why would she be there? Oh, she cares about Tyrion. She wants him to get loose, and she's going to try to buy him his freedom the only way she can. This is the only thing that she can do. Is
doesn't she try to kill him?
who she tried to kill who?
Panera at the
Doesn't-
grocery?
Jesus Christ.
What will you pair your Panera craving with? Quality time?
Jeez. All right. There we go. Sorry. One of the ads just started yelling at me.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. You said.
Doesn't Shay
Mhm.
try to kill Tyrion when he finds her in Tywin's bed?
Because he's so angry with her. He's about to kill her. He.
She
She's also.
grabs a knife.
Yeah. She's also. I don't remember that part, but she's also embarrassed of what she's done. She wants him to get free, so she's going to sleep with the man who could free him. To buy it, to pay for it, saying, "Hey, please let him loose." And then when he sees her, he goes into they both go into like a murderous rage. I think it's
No,
unconscious.
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
remember. I don't remember the scene, but
Nope.
I always read
This
it
is
as
one
her trying to buy it.
where you're gonna have to YouTube this one.
I'm gonna have to.
Tyrion finds Shay in
Wasn't he also
bed.
carrying a crossbow at the time? The man walks in with a weapon and sees her there. She's got to be like, okay, immediately, he's gonna murder me because of what I'm doing here.
He's not carrying a crossbow. No,
I don't remember.
he kills her with.
The hands.
They stare at each other. She grabs a knife. He stops her. I'm watching it right now.
Okay.
She's still trying to stab him. No words are exchanged. It takes a long time. Now she's trying to choke him. He fights her off. Now he's got something wrapped around her neck. And he kills her. Like, she straight tries to kill him multiple times. It's not
Because she
a
thought
relatable.
he was going to kill her. He thought she saw him walk into the room and said, "Oh, he's going to kill me now."
Nope.
The
Now
moment she saw
you
him,
watch it. Here
she
you
was.
go.
I think she's defending. But anyway, regardless, I watched that from a disassociated position, seeing, hey, these people are doing funny things, and I like watching them do their things. This wasn't, oh, I didn't feel betrayal. I didn't. Shay didn't hurt my heart. She didn't betray me. Does the audience feel betrayal when they see her there?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Well, then there's your difference. There, we've come to the end of this discussion, I think, where the audience is inserting themselves into this thing and feeling the things, where I'm disassociating from the media itself to give a to look at it from a bird's eye view. And that is why your critics aren't audience, your audience. That's why your audience and your critics don't agree with each other. because looking at it from two different points of view.
I think the hierarchy is probably more important there in terms of what we appreciate.
Sure, we have different hierarchies on what we appreciate. Yeah.
I think that it's a lot easier to insert yourself into a character when everything in the world makes sense.
I agree. It is easier to insert yourself into a character when everything in the world makes sense. I agree with that. I just don't do
So,
it.
yeah, you just don't do it. It's a difference in terms of how fans see things, and I
Mhm.
am a fan.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, maybe we just straight disagree about what makes good media,
Well,
but
we
we
would
do
have to
agree.
because that's why we've built two different pyramids. My pyramid is
Well,
shaped differently
well,
than
right,
yours.
but we do agree on what is good media.
Sometimes,
Most of the time,
most of the
we
time,
agree that Arcane's fucking good.
Arcade's super good
Um,
because of all the great themes that it implies.
what
But
do you,
you
I
would
mean, what do you think
suggest
of House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon was good. It was. It had the themes and it had the characters. Um, just the same as the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. The writing and logic haven't gone bad yet.
I mean, I think that House of the Dragon might be some of the best media that I've seen in years. It, I honestly do think that House of the Dragon is some of the best shit that that I have seen, possibly of all time.
Okay,
What do you think
and
of that?
that's fine. I accept that. That is an acceptable thing to say, and I would agree with it. And I think
Why?
it's good because of its themes.
You
Of
think it's good because of its themes?
Yes, because of its themes of uh, uh, sexism, succession, um, family strife, family discord, um, the drive of certain people to continue on their bloodlines, or the drive of someone else to continue on their name. These are interesting situations that I would like to
Those are
see those
characters.
situations. I want to see what those characters do in those situations. The situation is more important to me than the character. But if it was
But
just
the
if the
characters
show
behave in a certain way,
if the show was
right?
nothing
It's
but dragons and dragon riders going to war, I would not be interested in it. If it were just dragons burning people and then a discussion of tactics and they show the map and he says if we go to the east we can get around them and if we go to this side they'll be on this side and then they go and then they do it and then there's a battle and then it's over, I wouldn't be interested. If it were just that, it would have no themes. You got me? If it were just
I get you.
if it were just
What
a
I'm saying is
Call of
that
Duty game, I wouldn't be interested.
I think that your pyramid
Hmm.
should begin with characters.
I think you are misunderstanding what a character and a theme is.
You
You
think
have
that everything
you and I
arises from the
argued
themes,
about what ought to be in these
whereas,
two earlier.
yeah, I think that the themes arise from everything else. So in House of the Dragon, like you have strong female characters in House of the Dragon of
I agree.
varying types. Like Rhaenyra is a very strong female character,
Hmm. I agree.
and so is Alicent,
I
actually.
agree that she is a different type of uh, strong female character, but yes, fine. I think she's
And it
less of a
makes,
strong female character, but whatever.
I mean, yeah, she has her character traits.
Hmm.
Things happen to her, but she also has a certain degree of agency, which I very much appreciate.
Hmm.
Um, I think that characters having that agency is very important. I think that
falls within themes.
you think that falls within themes is for characters to have agency.
Yes, she's the queen, and the other is a queen who will take on a throne that has always been dominated by a man. And there are people who will not follow her because she is not a man. This is not character, this is theme. The queen having the ability to tell Crispin what to do isn't a character, it's a theme. The queen can tell you what to do, and he does some of it, and sometimes he tells her no. I mean, I remember that one time when she said, do something, and he was like, I serve the king. And
Wrong guy.
no, Crispin did it once too. Sir Crispin Cole or whatever.
I'm telling you, wrong guy.
What do you mean wrong guy? He did the thing once.
The guy that denied to do what? First of all, it wasn't the queen. It was Otto, who is the hand of the king. Wanted to go and kill Rhaenyra
Yeah,
and
I know.
Daemon.
I know. I'm talking about when the queen is pulling a knife on Rhaenyra.
And someone tells Kristen Cole to stop
And he-
her, and he says, "I don't do that."
yeah,
That still wasn't.
him denying the queen. He. There is a dynamic there. There is a theme there. There is a dynamic. There are characters bouncing off of each other, and the bouncing off and the things that happen when they bounce off and how they react to it is theme.
See, I don't put that in the same category. I put that in the characters category.
Right, because I think you're using the wrong definition of theme. A subject of discourse. The subject is the queen. The discourse is what the queen does and how she does it.
There is a certain amount of mix here, but I still think that belongs in the characters category.
Well, that's
So,
why
like,
they touch each other. That's why they are so close
They-
on the pyramid.
well, yeah, they don't and you can't have a story exactly without the top half of that pyramid, right?
Oh, of course
But
you can. With the
the
top
bottom
half of whose
half-
pyramid?
If you lose the top half, you have a shit story.
I agree. If I lose the top half of my pyramid, I have a bad time.
Yeah. Well, what I'm
And
saying
if
is
you
that
lose the top half of yours, I have a bad time also. Yeah. Nobody has a good time.
hey, I think World War II documentaries are amazing.
I
First
hate
of all.
them, and I am absolutely bored out of my mind with them. They are of no value to me. I do not. I mean, I comprehend that history is to be learned from. I love the idea of, hey, here's what happened. What do we learn from it? Let's not do it again. But watching it is not entertaining. It's slightly educational, but I don't need that education over and over and over again.
Fair. Okay, now, so we've been at this for
A while, yes. It's
almost
probably our
4
longest
hours.
stream ever, yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna have to end soon and go eat some lunch
oh,
and do work and stuff. But we can do a bit
because
tomorrow.
I'm down to
if you'd like.
continue this for as long as possible, but
Let's pick it up
I
tomorrow.
do want to talk about House of the Dragon.
Okay.
So
That is fine, and I can chop this up into littler bits and put it on the channel.
perfect. Let's hope this one was not lost to audio issues.
No, it wasn't. I've already looked at the thing here, and it's hearing my voice and stuff like that. But
Perfect.
I'm gonna go eat some lunch. And do you want to go again tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, tomorrow, House of the Dragon. And
Theme will be, or not the theme. Wow, what a word.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're on board.
The
You're a
topic
critic.
will be why House of the Dragon and Arcane, but especially House of the Dragon, are quite good compared to the media that you have brought up as potentially good. So She-Hulk and Captain Marvel and whatnot.
I mean, we
I
already
will
did that,
also
because
insert.
we already did that. They're more subtle. even when Arcane's message is subtle, I hear it. I pick it up. I pick it out. I recognize it. When the subtlety of the subtle sexism of House of the Dragon is there, I pick it up. But I don't think the normies do. I don't think the normies. That's why I asked you that series of questions. Are there people who didn't notice that there were lesbians in Arcane? Are there people who didn't notice that there was a very sharp class divide and this is a classist struggle? I don't think they notice
Okay.
that. And because they
Let,
don't
let
notice
well
it,
then let's
they
just
don't
talk
think it's
about
political.
let's just talk about House of the Dragon then
House of the Dragon and political. That's fine.
and politics. Yeah.
Is House of the Dragon
Um.
more political than Captain Marvel?
Yes.
Yes, I agree. But why is Captain Marvel hated for being political?
Ham fisting.
Ham fisting. That's it. I mean, we're done. That's all there is.
So, do you want to have a stream tomorrow or not?
We can, yeah.
Is the question.
And we can do a little bit of the Star Wars and maybe some of the stuff we lost last week.
That'd be nice.
Maybe not this long because I've got
I
housework to
wonder.
do. You know.
Yeah. We're going on 4 hours here. Holy
I know.
shit.
That's a. We're streamers now. That's what we do. And you went to the bathroom twice. I didn't eat anything.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But I should. No, you're fine. I'm not giving you shit. I'm just saying, like, I didn't eat anything, so I'm not a top streamer yet. I need to learn to eat and poop while on stream. I'll do that. Maybe not. Maybe tomorrow. I'll just leave it.
Don't do the Hassan thing.
That was
Don't
the,
just leave for hours and
that was the
let
joke, and I'll let somebody else's YouTube video play
yeah.
while I go and take it up. All right. That is
All right,
it
man.
for today. All right. Pleasure talking to you as always. I got a lot of work to do. My old lady's griping at me for taking up too much
Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.